Da-da-da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da! I'm not even going to try and get synchronized with that. Oh, God. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. I'm the best at what I do, and what I do is discuss the finer points of filmmaking. Snit!
That's right, Bob. What are we here to talk about today?
We are here to talk about my personal favorite superhero movie of all time. That's right. I just said it right out of the gate.
So far.
X-Men, Days of Future Past. Yeah! Now, BlueDragonFive, I kind of had a debate in my head whether or not we should do this as a kickback cafe, which is non-Disney discussion, or whether we should do this as a Main Street Cinema, which discusses the finer points of filmmaking. I decided on Main Street Cinema, and I didn't take that lightly because, because Main Street Cinema, that's like designed for really high-end films, but this, my friend, is a masterpiece, in my humble, honest opinion. But we will get all into it. So, X-Men, Days of Future Past. The new Fox Studios X-Men movie, of course, the 7th in the franchise, kind of bridging the gap between the first-class universe and the original universe, kind of bridging the two timelines. BlueDragonFive, what do you think of this?
I thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. So
I thought it was great. It was exciting.
Oh yes. I see what you did there.
Exactly.
So how do we approach this without just gushing about it for 2 hours?
Okay, so we want to, I guess, summarize it.
I guess we could summarize it. Let's do it.
Well, we should. We have to be careful because it's a time travel. A lot of confusing stuff with time travel can come about.
I mean, I'd rather, instead of summarizing, man, to tell you the truth, I'd rather just kind of just go into it and just sort of talk about, like, just all the individual components to it. Because you're right, if we do just go through and just summarize the whole plot, it could get really messy. So why don't we just start with that, the actual time travel element of the movie. This, of course, it's based on the X-Men Days of Future Past, the famous. Is it a graphic novel or is it a storyline, BlueDragonFive?
Well,
a story arc, I mean.
Yeah, it's a story arc.
Okay, that's what I thought. So in terms of the time travel, now you asked me before the show to look up the mutant that was responsible for the time travel in the actual comic, and unfortunately I couldn't find that because I just couldn't find a good, kind of summary of the comic book, but
well, I mean, every time I found a summary, I couldn't find which mutant did it, because it's not the mutant that does it in this film.
No, the mutant that does it in this film is Kitty Pryde, played by Ellen Page.
Wonderfully so.
Yes, okay, let me just get this off my chest right now. I am not really a big X-Men fan. I mean, I have a special place in my heart for the first movie, as I'm sure a lot of people do, because it really was the, the thing that started off the superhero genre as we know it, the modern-day superhero movie. Spider-Man kind of really made it explode, but Spider-Man would not have happened without the original X-Men. But to tell you the truth, after the original X-Men, like, X2's great, yeah, I love Nightcrawler, haven't seen X2 in a while. Of course, X3 was a train wreck, didn't bother with X-Men Origins, and I never got around to seeing First Class or Wolverine, the Wolverine. So, so really, going into this film, BlueDragonFive, I had very little expectation, to tell you the truth, and I feel like that kind of worked in my favor. Because unlike going into something like Godzilla, for example, which we saw the week before, with Godzilla, I had so many preconceived notions of what I wanted that movie to be that I had just been building up for like the past 2 years, so that when I actually went into it and it inevitably wasn't what I wanted it to be, I was a little bit let down. But with this, I just went in, I to tell you the truth, I just mostly just saw this based 100% on reviews. I was just like, oh, it's getting really good reviews, so I guess I better see it. And I was just blown away, man. Like, from the second that 21st Century Fox logo fades out, and we get the X on the Fox, and it
Yeah.
does the da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh my god,
Yeah.
how cool was that?
I'll admit that just instantly brought a smile to my face because I was thinking, oh yeah, they brought it back. Because I can't recall if they did that for the Wolverine or not.
I wouldn't know, but
That's the thing is, I just remember just seeing that X, and that X remain just brought me back to the first movie. Like, oh yeah, it's back.
like, the first movie holds a really special place because, like, before the first movie came out, me and my dad would go to the movie theater, but we'd always see, like, these kids' movies. Like, I remember, like, I took him to see the first two Pokemon movies, for example.
Oh god.
And he just loved that, you know. But the first X-Men, it was really the first movie that me and my dad saw together that we both really liked. And my dad liked it even more than I did because, of course, you know, I was like 10 years old at the time, so I didn't get any of the concentration camp allegory or stuff like that. You know, all that stuff went way over my head. But, you know, so I really feel like that original X-Men movie really is just so, you know, so rooted in what superhero movies came to be, like I said. But, I don't know.
Yeah, my relationship with the X-Men is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Much like you, I'm not a huge X-Men fan, especially not initially. Essentially, I think the X-Men, they always sound like a cool concept, but the thing with the X-Men, very interesting you mentioned Pokemon, because actually that's how I approach the X-Men. The X-Men's kind of like my problem with Pokemon, that initially, you know, good idea, fun thing, but it
just gets way overwhelming.
It gets too big. That's the problem, because now I find, like, I tried after what, I watched, I always knew about the X-Men, because, you know, they're very popular, oversaturated. 90s was pretty much the X-Men year.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, with the cartoon, the comics, and, you know, I believe Joss Whedon's X-Men was, like, around that time. If not, actually, no, I think it was the early 2000s, if not late 90s also. But, regardless, you know, the X-Men are huge. That's actually, well, the thing, but they used leather in the, had to be around the 90s or something, because the X-Men are wearing the leather jackets in the movie because of that.
Right, yeah.
And the leather looks because of Joss Whedon, but anyway. The point is, I knew about them and I watched the movies, and I thought the movies, well, they're not really dressed like superheroes or anything, or like their comic counterparts. They're in these leather get-ups. Yeah, it's just
that was kind of, personally, I didn't know about the Whedon thing. I always thought that was kind of a sort of just a trend that started with the Matrix.
It was kind of neat that, I'm saying they probably kept it because of the Matrix, but
right.
Whedon actually had a better. It looks better in the Whedon thing because it's colored leather, so it's not just, you know, black and one color.
Yeah.
It was like Letterman jackets for a school, so it looked kind of neat. It was like X's along the thing, so it looked like they were students. That's what was really cool about it. Anyway, the thing is, so I watched the movie and I'm saying, like, Wolverine without his mask on. I'm thinking, why doesn't he have the mask on? The mask is cool. And I'm saying, because he look kind of like Batman with the eye slits and everything. Who gives? And you got Cyclops in this cool visor. Why is it so colorful as the kids in the comics? All stuff like that. And it's kind of weird. Again, I didn't have much connection with the X-Men, just aside from they were cool people with powers. And I watched the movies. Don't get me wrong, they had their... I kind of have grown to like the movies more, but I've been more harsh on the movies than anything, because it's, in a weird way, I'm not much of an X-Men fan. I'm kind of a purist, because I think there are a lot of interesting concepts in the X-Men comics.
Right.
And especially what really got me into it, and I'm not too crazy about the cartoon just because I'm not big an X-Men fan, but as its moments, it's a little too dated for me. The 90s X-Men cartoon, like Batman holds up much better than the X-Men in the 90s.
I mean, Batman holds up much better than most
And
things.
I'm not faulting the X-Men, because I think the X-Men might have come first because of the older G.I. Joe looking thing.
Yeah, right.
Which that thing really takes me out of it overall. It has good storylines, but I'm sorry, I'm drifting off. Anyway, the point is, I really got into the X-Men because of Wolverine Origins was coming out. Wolverine Origins was coming. I've seen the movies that were on TV. I've seen movies. Just to make
an appropriate place to start.
Yeah, no, I got a complex thing. I'm real quick with this, but I got a really complex history with these guys.
All right.
So I've seen Wolverine Origins was coming out. I saw the advertising of Wolverine, and I'm saying, well, I mean, Wolverine's cool. I mean, I was like, no, everyone loves Wolverine. I'm gonna like Cyclops more because he's cool. He looks cooler with the visor, and he has a cool power.
Yeah.
But then I actually watched the movies and stuff, and I really got into it. Man, Wolverine's pretty cool. And then the thing that made me fall in love with all the X-Men was this short movie put out called Hulk versus Wolverine that introduced me to my favorite character, Deadpool.
Oh, I hear ya. I hear ya. I love that short. We should do a commentary on that.
Oh, we should. That introduced me to my favorite character, my favorite Marvel character, actually Deadpool. Number one, favorite hero is Spider-Man. My favorite character from Marvel is Deadpool.
Okay, okay.
And that introduced me to that. It really got me into the X-Men. Then after that, they released the cartoon of Wolverine and the X-Men. That really got me into the X-Men because Wolverine was leading it. I was interested in that. Then they had the X-Men team, and it familiarized me with the X-Men more so, and I kind of read the comics and stuff, and got more very interesting universe. Became more familiar, gave the movies another chance, saw some interesting stuff, and the Origins came out and really let me down with my favorite character, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but importantly, back to the movies. The thing is, like, those interesting concepts, I kept seeing as missed opportunities on the film, and in a weird way, I'm an X-Men purist without being a huge X-Men fan because it's too big.
Yeah, right.
Because I fell down. I always warn people, if you're going to get into the X-Men, you're going to fall down the rabbit hole like I do. Like, you're going to get into, okay, let's explore the X-Men. Then you're going to fall in a certain character you love. Like, some people love Gambit, which I think is really cool. Some people like Nightcrawler, also really cool, and they're going to get lost in all their comics. Me, it's Deadpool, but I'm just saying, like, I don't really care about the rest of the X-Men except Wolverine's also there, but mainly Deadpool, then Wolverine, and then Gambit if I had to rank them,
Yeah, sure.
It's like you fall around all these great characters, but the movies kind of bother me, like some of these, those missed opportunities. The biggest one I'm going to mention here, because I'm getting into the film we're currently talking about, Senator Kelly. Okay. Now, this is important, okay? So, again, I told you that in a weird way I'm a purist somehow, and I hope I'm not offending true diehard X-Men fans today when I say I'm kind of a purist.
Well, I'd say you're like a casual purist. You know what I mean? It's like for as much as you know about the X-Men comics, you want to see it stay faithful to that.
I mean, I respect that the X-Men films, you can't do everything it's in the comics, and the X-Men films, they provide some interesting ideas, but I still a part of me always thinks that if they followed some of the stuff in the comics, again, it's just missed opportunities, pretty much, in a nutshell. Anyway, I just wish those missed opportunities were explored in the films, is all I'm saying. But anyway, so Senator Kelly is my big point of contention with the X-Men films. Mm-hmm. And this film. Well, not this film, I'm just saying overall the X-Men films. Senator Kelly gets killed off in the first X-Men film. Now, Senator Kelly is like the J. Jonah Jameson of the X-Men universe. Seriously, he's a very important character. In the 90s show, you'll see that instantly.
Okay.
He's the guy he's basically Boulevard Trask in this movie, and in the comic Days of Future Past, that was his character. He was supposed to be killed by Mystique.
Oh, really?
So essentially, Boulevard Trask in this film was supposed to be Senator Kelly, and that usually fits with all the cool stuff done with Senator Kelly. Like, think about it, the end of the X-Men 1.
I mean, I love Trask in this movie, though.
Yeah, I'm with you, too. I mean, I love Trask was awesome in this. We're going to get into that in just a moment.
Oh, yeah.
But, the thing is, Senator Kelly, he's the guy who's always saying, it's like J. Jameson. You can never convince him that Spider-Man's good. Mm-hmm. Well, look, that Spider-Man's bad. And that's Senator Kelly. He's always saying, mutants are bad. We need to get the bill signed so we can build these sentinels and attack everybody. That's all Senator Kelly's like. He's basically the most popular racist in the world.
Oh, God. Right.
And essentially, that's Senator Kelly's character, and they kill him off in the first X-Men film. And my instant reaction is, wait, what about all the potential you could explore with this guy? You're killing him off in the first movie? And they bring him back at the end of this film. Okay, well, now Mystique's Senator Kelly. What gives? And they did that in this film, too. I'm thinking, well, what gives?
Oh, God.
No, that's just... Point is, my main point is that Senator Kelly was going to be a part of this film. They changed it with Boulevard Trask, yet that change is okay. And this film kind of proves some of these deviations are okay. They're better than they've done in the other films, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, regardless of whether purists will hang me or not, the thing I think we can all agree on, we can all just kind of unite. United. We stand. On, would be the fact that X-Men 3 disappointed a lot of people because it was really, even for the purists that are accepting of the films, they really were unhappy with the changes made, especially because they took a story you really have to adapt well from the comics, if not at all. The Dark Phoenix saga. Oh, yeah. Because I think people like the Cure a bit, because the Cure is a classic story, which you really need Kelly for. Because Kelly's the guy, he's like, okay, and the Wolverine cartoon really showcases this really well, if you ask me. The whole, he's the guy okay in the Sentinel Project, and then Boulevard Trask is building the Sentinels.
Right.
That's in the X-Men. That's in the Wolverine the X-Men cartoon, and I think they touched on the cure a bit. Like Angel's father is the one who's manufacturing the cure. That's all
To
in
be
there.
fair, like X-Men 3, like I actually like all the stuff with the Cure. I just think it's the stuff with Magneto and the Phoenix that kind of falls apart.
And I'll agree there. You can't just these two stories. You kind of have to devote time to one, not the other. And the Cure is an easy one to do, so you got to give them that. That's the reason they did so well. Because Cure is easy. They have instant parallels in trauma there. And like Magneto has this great line in X-Men 3. I'll mention real quick. Is that he says, you know, like actually, it doesn't really relate to the Cure that much, but it's this great line where the weird tattooed mutant. Remember, like the one with super speed, like the weird looking chick.
Yeah.
Where she says like, where's your tattoo for the Brotherhood of Mutants? Which he started, by the way. He has this great line. He shows his arm and he says, "No one's ever touching a needle to my skin again, dear."
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. Remember, something to point out right here is kind of relate to this film. The biggest strength of those X-Men films that really transfers in spades here is the quality of actor and character. What the actors bring to these characters, and really they drive the story. So if nothing else, even the X-Men 3, I have to admit, the performances are good in that film.
Yeah, for the most part.
I'm saying, with the exception of the ones that get killed off, or just like 2 minutes of cameos.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying overall, they got a lot of choice.
Yeah, like, for the 2-minute cameos, I mean, I think, like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! You know?
I'm saying, for the most part, like, some things can't be helped. Like, if you're gonna, Juggernaut's not even a mutant. Like, why is he?
Right. Alright, well,
seriously, he's not a mutant in the thing. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Well, let's get into Days of Future Past. So,
Oh, actually, can I mention a few things about the comic real quick before we move? Just like 2 things.
Yeah, really quick.
Just a few changes that were made. The initial timelines were that it took place in, it had the present and the future, so there was no past at all, actually.
Right.
It was 1980 and 2013. Those are the 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And the last thing, Mystique definitely was in the original, and as I mentioned, however, she had like the Brotherhood of Mutants behind her. So instead of Magneto in the story,
wasn't she leading the Brotherhood?
I'm sorry, what?
Wasn't she leading the Brotherhood?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I assume like she took it over from Magneto or something. Like, sometimes she leads.
Sure.
Again, X-Men is like Pokemon. There's so many. It goes for so many years, so many versions. Like, there's a version of like when they went they went into space for a while. Magneto became some sort of weird. Magneto and Xavier had some sort of weird robot love child, technically.
Oh Jesus!
Technically, because it's like the creation of both of their minds. I mean, but
it's still... I've heard of that. Isn't that Onslaught?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a giant robotic Magneto.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd actually be cool to see if they could get the design right. But I digress.
Anyway, that's all the things I need to mention about this. And I mentioned Senator Kelly, so that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, one last big thing. Kitty Pryde went back in time in the original, so it wasn't Wolverine. She was the one that went back in time in the comic. That's important.
Right. Yeah. I think they really did a good job of justifying Wolverine now.
Yeah, they have a really great justification for Wolverine. I like how they did legitimately give a lot of thought to their reasoning and stuff, and I really did appreciate that.
Sure, it's not just like, oh, Logan, you're the most popular character, so...
One of the intentions with this film was to fix as much as they could of the original, the plot holes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could just picture Bryan Singer just literally, like... just taking plot holes and just tearing them down with a sledgehammer in this movie.
If only I could go back in time and stop me from making Superman Returns.
But wait, I can do one better, and I can have my characters go back in time and stop X3 from happening. Ah. Oh god.
I remember that would have stopped X3 if he didn't work on Returns. He would have been there for X-Men 3.
Oh yes, and what a great.
He chose one over the other and took Marston with him.
Oh.
I'm kidding. A lot of people get up in arms about Marston going on that film. He did of his own accord. He did both films at the same time, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They just wrote him out. It wasn't because he decided not to.
like we'll get into this like towards the end, but like I actually really like James Marsden as Cyclops, and he never got enough to do. I mean, I think that's kind of is that like a consensus opinion amongst?
Oh yeah,
fans?
yeah, that big time.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's
Right.
good from the little we saw of him. I mean, I
Oh
like him.
yeah, he's great.
Would not see more of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's just got that cocky attitude that, the Cyclops. I mean, granted, I don't know much about the comics, but I do know he was the original leader in the
Yeah,
comics.
might have been kind of cool to see him lead them a few times before.
Right, right.
Out. I mean, the most leadership he ever did was most leader-like thing he ever did was just say, remember they saved Wolverine in the first X-Men movie? He's like, like he blasted like a seatbelt or something.
Right.
and Sabretooth, that's pretty much saying, Storm, cool the heater or something, like put out the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, so oh my God, Days of Future Past, dude. It's just like I am kind of overwhelmed when it comes to how to talk about this movie because I don't want to just go scene by scene and just be like, that was awesome, and that was awesome, and that was awesome.
Well, I do have a list of all the characters that appeared in the movie. You want to go through them?
Oh God. Oh God. Okay, sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Kitty Pryde, because that one's gonna be wrapped up real quick.
Okay. I like the fact that she was like actively involved throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Like everything they did with the time. Like one of my favorite elements of this movie was how it was almost kind of like had this Inception quality going on with it, where the two levels were kind of existing simultaneously and affecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of funny that actually someone from Inception was responsible for it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, but actually, I want to mention something because it's kind of the opening and the time travel overall, like how it's done. Okay, I think people might have problems with the opening in terms of like the logic of the time travel, but I think there's definitely a way around. I want to point this out. At first, when I saw this, I loved it. Then I still love it. I realized problems about it with the like some time travel problems.
Right.
Then I kind of more thought I gave to it. I actually found ways around it, and take it for what you will. These are my reasonings for like ways around it, but I'll get through address the problems first of all.
Okay.
Problem with the opening. Big problem with the opening if you don't find a way around. I believe this is intended to be the way around, so I truly do believe it's the solution. Okay, opening scene. We get a really great opening, by the way.
Very, very Terminator-esque, as many people have said.
What I love so much about this opening is that it mirrors the opening of the first X-Men film. If I'm right. Now, if I'm wrong, Tiki, our first opening of the X-Men film is in World War II, correct?
It's a concentration camp, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, so that's a great parallel.
Way over my head as a 10-year-old.
Which instantly is a great parallel, by the way.
Oh, sure, definitely.
Yeah, especially if you look at First Class also, because First Class took us back there, too, for the opening.
Yeah, I noticed that in First Class. And
First Class is important because we're getting to really introduce the Magneto and the friendship between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of First Class. I explained to you off air why I couldn't get through that movie. I don't feel like I need to go through it again.
Right.
It's a very superficial reason. But
that opening is great. I love the thing. It just makes me. Oh, there's so many great things about the scene. First of all, the piles of dead bodies falling. That was just so like almost jaw dropping.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. This movie is like it's one of the darkest PG-13 movies I've ever seen. I mean I'm kind of surprised. I mean it's like the only reason they were able to get away with the violence that they did is because a lot of
it's gonna be fixed in the end.
Well, yeah, that true. And I was gonna say also like in the case of like we see certain characters get killed off. Like. In the opening battle, you see Iceman literally get his head freaking smashed.
Yeah, the only reason they got away with that because his head isn't human.
Exactly, yeah.
But speaking of that, let's get to that death, the whole barrage of death in a moment.
Oh my God.
I just love. I think it's so brilliant. First of all, I'm going into this film. I'm expecting. A part of me expected. Okay, well they're going to show the future just to kind of jar us into see what our stakes are.
Sure, right.
But when they really just took the time, first of all, I was expecting to see Sentinels running around like blasting stuff. We didn't get that. We got like the ships deploying the Sentinels. Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then we saw the aftermath, like the destruction. There was all that legion of bodies that were just plummeting of the dead mutants have been drained of their powers, presumably, or dead. But then the thing is just so scary. The thing just instantly reminded me of the concentration camps from the first X-Men film. Just seeing like I remember the M marks from the comic. I forgot quite the significance because they actually had this in the Wolverine the X-Men cartoon because they basically do Days of Future Past in that too.
Oh yeah.
It's a little different, mind you, but it's there's a lot of time travel in the X-Men X-Men comics and stuff you should know. So.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
like Cable is a whole thing himself. Like he's the epitome of time travel.
I've heard people talk a lot about Cable and what they might do with him, like in post X-Men Days of Future Past discussions.
Yeah,
so,
and the thing is, Cable's like Deadpool's buddy, so that's the thing. So. Yeah, it's funny, but anyway, yeah, just seeing like the M march, I was so surprised they got away with the M march. Like, oh man, they really are being faithful with this. I mean,
right.
March and like they even had the little mutant inhibitor collars on the back of them.
Mm-hmm.
Those things on the back of them are intended to like siphon off mutant powers. So basically, they can't break free of like being controlled.
Yeah, right.
It was really, really cool. They really put a lot of thought in this. I appreciated that. They reminded me of that Wolverine the X-Men portions where they would go into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then we get this really great action scene of Onslaught.
Such a fucking cool opening action scene, man. Oh my god.
Basically, our ragtag guys.
I must say this, like, this blows the opening of frickin' the Avengers out of the frickin' water.
Well.
No, it does. The opening of the Avengers is the Loki Pokey stick. And then the opening of this is, well, this. And it's just so cool. It's just like, oh my god. No, I mean, I've stated, like, The Avengers is a great movie. It's not even my favorite of the Marvel movies. That would be Iron Man 3. But, yeah, I mean, this has, like, the fun of the Avengers, the cerebralness of the Nolan Batman movies, and, like, it just blends everything together so well, and that's why it's my favorite comic book movie of all time. I mean, you know, at least until I see Cap 2, but...
I'd still wait for you to see Cap 2 and Guardians, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Cap 2, it might change my... I don't think so, man.
I think Cap 2 is going to change your mind, but that's just... Anyway, some great characters to highlight here. So we have this great action scene. First of all, when we saw the Sentinels, they weren't the Sentinels we were expecting, were they?
Oh, they were awesome.
Now, I'm going to mention this.
No. I'll tell you the truth. When I first saw the designs of the future Sentinels, I was a little bit like, wait, what? Like, I was a little bit like, okay, this is a little CG heavy. Which, as you know, I'm not a big fan of, like, overly, like, because the Sentinels in the past are, like, just essentially giant robots, which are kind of practical. And these are much more sleek CG creatures. But what really sold me on these was about midway through when I realized that the future Sentinels were all powered by Mystique's DNA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, because that just gives it... Like, that one little fact right there just totally justifies, like, the scaly design and the whole, like, adapting to other powers, and it was just so
now,
cool
tell
the way
me,
that was revealed.
Tell me you weren't thinking of Thor when you saw them open up the faces like that with the Destroyer armor.
I don't know.
Didn't it remind you of the Destroyer at all?
To tell you the truth, man, I've only seen the original Thor once in theater, so it's been a while. So.
All right. Anyway, yeah, I should mention to you again. As novice of an X-Men guy as I may be, because can you blame me? There's such a big universe with the X-Men.
I don't get how anyone could be an expert. It's like it's so vast.
Expert.
Are we really going to make a pun out of anything that we say with the word X in it? Right.
Maybe. Anyway, we had regardless of that, I do know everything about the Wolverine the X-Men cartoon, and with that, they did this really cool thing. Again, I told you when they go into the future, they actually did something similar to this. The idea is that in the past, you'd see the Sentinels being upgraded with like copy mutant abilities, and they would do that in this film. So basically, in the future, the Sentinels here had that ability. They would copy mutants' powers in the future, and they had, again, what I mentioned, the inhibitor collars. That's probably what they were doing.
Right.
They're probably programming mutant abilities, or at least the adaptability, in the Mystique Sentinels of the future here. So you can constantly see different versions and varieties of Sentinels along with powers and stuff of mutants.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And basically the idea of the Wolverine cartoon was that, like, in the past, the X-Men could communicate with the future. So they could talk to Charles Xavier in the future, and he would tell them, okay, you have to go and prevent this. I don't know exactly where this is, but okay, but listen, you go and you stop this man, exactly, you save this person, and you'll prevent this in the future. And basically then the Sentinel will disappear when it's killing the future guys.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So,
yeah.
I really like that. I appreciate that. I thought that was a cool notion. That instantly came to mind during that. Then we got to see a bunch of our future mutants, which they had a really neat selection, by the way, which I'll go through real quick. They don't have a lot of screen time, so I'm just going to list them off here. Warpath, which I was really surprised to see.
Oh, which one is that?
Warpath is the guy with kind of the domino mask painted on his face, long hair, knives. His mutant abilities really just aren't that impressive, but essentially his brother was with Wolverine as one of the original, like, not original, but kind of the really new guys brought into the X-Men.
Okay, cool.
Like, this guy was introduced along with Wolverine, and
right.
And this is his brother. So Warpath and his brother pretty much have the same power set. They just basically they're superhuman, like super Luke Cage type stuff, except not bulletproof. Mm-hmm. Super strength, super speed, not super speed, stamina and so forth. Like they're Spider-Man without the webs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And essentially, also they're Native American, so I believe they're good trackers. Hence the Warpath. I guess it's like they have war handy abilities.
Okay.
So I guess that his brother's name was Thunderbird. I don't know. The point is, Native American guy with tracking and war type abilities. Mm-hmm. Anyway, also we got a character I loved. I was so happy to see this character, Blink.
Oh God, she was awesome.
Blink, and I could be wrong on this, and I'm sure people will lynch me for getting this wrong, but just bear with me. I'm not making an official statement on this, but if I'm correct, Magneto adopted a daughter, and I forget if it's Blink or someone named Farrell. I believe it's Blink.
Okay.
I'm almost sure it's Blink. I could be wrong if he even adopted a daughter, but he's really close to this girl.
Right.
So regardless,
did they show him interacting with Ian McKellen at all?
Well, I mean, she saves him.
Okay.
So, I mean, regardless, I'm not sure if they went that far, but we saw they were hinted at going that far in certain aspects in this film.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But regardless, so don't quote me.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So regardless, don't quote me on the Blink thing. I'm not sure, but I think I'm wrong on that. But I'm saying Blink she's always handy with Magneto because she teleports him out of situations.
I mean, it's like the first time we see that teleportation stuff in action in this movie, man.
And that's exactly what she does. She has like a satchel of these little bolts that she'll throw, like javelin spears and stuff. And
God.
The effect's a little different, but the effect always changes in whatever you're doing. And it is cool looking regardless. She throws these pink bolts and like stuff happens that teleports you. Mm-hmm. Really cool. And the way they did it was like a mirror effect of almost like you put your hand. It's like the spot from Spider-Man. Right. You put your hand through one portal, you end up in another place. That was so cool.
Actually, it kind of reminded me of the video game Portal.
Yeah. Essentially, like in the Wolverine X-Men cartoon, remember, like she tossed this thing at you, then you just appear somewhere else.
Right.
But regardless, this was cool too. This is almost even cooler. Like you just see a portal the other place and you jump through it. So
yeah.
Cool.
Oh my God, it's
also character.
That's all I can say.
Blink is awesome, and also I should mention this about Blink. Very important. Blink is actually contracted to appear in 5 X-Men films.
Oh my!
And this is the first of it.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of tell. I could kind of tell that they were sort of like, much like Quicksilver, which we'll get into. I could tell that they were sort of like, hey, look at this cool new character. We'll be seeing more of her. So
now
that's
again,
cool. Looking forward to that.
Again, Tiki, just to drive the point in further, don't think of her as Magneto's daughter, okay? Just because I mentioned adopted daughter. Don't think of her like that. It's a maybe. Mm-hmm. But regardless. Another character, real quick. At first, I thought this was Pyro, but I was wrong.
I was right there with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Why did they go with Pyro? It would have been kind of cooler if they went with Pyro.
Maybe they just couldn't get the original actor for some
No, no.
reason.
I forget if Pyro was cured or not. I don't think Pyro was cured in the X-Men Days of Future Past. I'm like, Iceman fought him, but I don't remember if he's cured or not.
Uh-huh.
No, I can't remember. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But this guy's name is Sunspot, and something interesting. He was supposed to be in First Class, but they changed their mind.
Yeah.
That's why he's up here. But he's cool in this. Again, I kind of went into it thinking it was just Pyro, so that was mainly the reason I liked him. But anyway, he had cool powers. Just mainly as a war mutant, if you will. Just, shooting copious amounts of fire and flame at Sentinels.
Yeah.
Also, Colossus, awesome.
Oh my god, Colossus, he barely got more than, a extended cameo in the other X-Men movies, and here he's he's so cool.
Oh yeah, they did this really cool part of, I don't know if he break his arm or not, but he's grabbing onto the hand of one of the Sentinels and looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. It's a matching of strengths.
Right.
Boys, Colossus gets the shaft, believe it or not, a lot.
In the comics too.
Everywhere. Unfortunately, in the comics, I think it's the only place they do him justice. But he's
in the animated one, he's not in a lot.
All the animated ones, he's been pretty much shafted.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in Wolverine and the X-Men guys, they apologize, saying, "Oh, we love Colossus, but we just didn't have room this season." Unfortunately, they weren't brought back for season 2, which is the reason he's not in there. But they had plans for him, though, so give them that.
Yeah.
The whole thing, Wolverine's it's the disbandment and rebanding of the X-Men, so that's the reason he's not in there. But
okay.
And in the old X-Men cartoon, he was a guest star now and again. So I mean, yeah, there's that as you mentioned, the films, he doesn't really appear that much. But Colossus is a really cool character. He and Wolverine have a rapport, they have moves, and actually he's in a relationship with Kitty Pryde usually.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
The thing is, in the comics, that's why at the end of this film, he and Kitty Pryde are standing together.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if you look, you can kind of tell he's a little jealous in this film.
Right.
He's jealous of Bobby and Kitty Pryde. Iceman.
Yeah.
Which brings us to last on Colossus, a really cool demonstration of powers that works up like armor, and his marketing was funny, like the Colossus burger.
Oh god! Oh my god! Oh.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna market something, at least it's funny.
Well, I mean, it's not nearly as bad as oh god, I saw
the
one
power demonstration one.
No, hear me out. I saw one bit of marketing on Amazing Spider-Man 2 that was it was up on a McDonald's, and it was swing into the delicious taste of fresh apples, and I'm like, freaking really?
However, I do love the Spider-Man commercial where he's bringing the movie to Stanley. I love that one.
Well, anything with Stan Lee is awesome.
I wanted them to open the movie with that right before it played.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, the commercial you play before the movie, because that would make so much that Spider-Man delivered us the movie, and the Stan himself was up in the projection room right now.
By the way, does Stan Lee not get cameos in X-Men movies? Because I don't seem to remember him.
He's not in this film. He's not in this film. He's not in the Wolverine movies or this film. Or First Class.
But he cameoed in the other ones?
Only 2 of them.
Okay.
He cameoed in the first...
Is that because he just doesn't have as much to do with the actual X-Men comics?
Yeah, even Stan Lee will admit that. He did create the core ones. He created the first team and the overall concept, but he really doesn't... I think he just doesn't feel as responsible for them.
Okay, fair enough.
Magneto and essentially all the original, the true First Class team, and Magneto is all him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's all. Anyway. Iceman. He was cool.
Yeah, it was just great to see him again,
he was supposed to play Bruce Wayne, and when they were pitching around that Bruce Wayne television show for a while.
Wait, you mean before they started the one Gotham?
Yeah, before the Gotham. It was when Smallville. It was the thing that eventually turned into Smallville. Originally, it was going to be a Bruce Wayne show.
Okay.
There's going to be a Bruce Wayne show starring this guy, but then they changed it to Smallville.
No.
Because it Begins was in the works. Anyway. The Iceman's been a fan favorite. He's played by a good actor. And we all love Iceman because we all love Frozen. Just the idea of an ice-themed character.
I mean, yeah, that's what was kind of going through my mind. Was like, oh God, with Frozen now, everyone's gonna go nuts for Iceman.
Yeah, ice is so popular nowadays. You notice that? Think about it. Ice is really popular. You got Mr. Freeze, you got Captain Cold, you got Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, there's been so much like Elsa,
fan
Jack Frost fan fiction and fan art. Oh my God.
Yeah, the Jack Frost and the Elsa. It's almost sick of it. Elsa and Frozen. I'm just saying a lot of ice themed characters are beloved, but he was the original. Iceman was the original.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's what kind of people were making fun of with Frozen. That was one of the things people would make fun of. Is essentially Elsa is just a female version of Iceman.
And Iceman in this film, he got some cool stuff to do, and he's in a relationship with Kitty Pryde at the beginning, at least. Mm-hmm. And that's actually I don't know if they stole it from this or not, but that's in the Wolverine the X-Men cartoon as well. They have a relationship because Colossus is out of the picture.
Okay, nice.
So because they got rid of him, they kind of hinted at a relationship between those two. They didn't go anywhere with it, but just hinted at playful stuff.
Yeah.
But those two they have a good rapport. And he's generally concerned about her when she gets wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we're just about through all of our future guys, but you want to get to the big guys, or you want to save them for the past? Wolverine. I mean, not.
Well, let's just quickly just get into how awesome it was that it was like the Beatles coming to America. It's like there's Storm, there's Wolverine, there's frickin' Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. It was, oh my God.
However, actually, let's talk about Storm real quick. Yes.
Okay.
What do we think Halle Berry is Storm in this film?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I am with the majority of people who are not a big fan of Halle Berry as Storm in general, but I liked her a lot in this movie. I thought she was the best she's ever been as Storm. Because it's like she's not trying. What I really didn't like about the way they would depict her in the other ones was they would kind of try to give her too big of a role just because it was Halle Berry. But whereas with this, it's just like...
Well, Tiki, in all fairness, it's not just because it's Halle Berry. It's because she actually is a bigger, important character in the comics.
Okay. Well, but I mean, I'm just saying in terms of the actual, cinematic universe, it always kind of felt like... I get that she's an important character in the comics. I just feel like it was never really justified in the cinematic universe.
Oh, right. You're absolutely right. In the comics, she would be the leader of the X-Men if something happened to Cyclops. And but in the movies, though, movies are not a chance.
She's just kind of there. You know what I mean?
I mean, Wolverine would be the logical choice instead of her.
Right.
I'm just saying, who else do we got?
Yeah.
If Beast isn't going to do it, it's going to be Wolverine.
Oh God. Okay, Beast. One thing I want to mention about Beast really quick before I forget it. Literally the last thing that me and my friend were talking about before the lights went down for this movie is if Kelsey Grammer was going to get cameo or not. So, oh my God. All right.
I heard someone say in the theater that Beast got fat, and I was like, oh, that's a little mean.
No, I don't think so. Wait, do you mean future Beast or past Beast?
Future.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
This thing, what he's older.
Creation, so it's like, I don't know. Even if you did it, it's whatever.
Yeah, Storm. I like how they made it work more so in the comics when they gave her the mullet. Oh, not the mullet, the mohawk.
Oh God, yeah, right.
I like their hairstyle on this better, but yeah, she doesn't have much to do. At least she feels more like Storm because she's actually doing stuff Storm would do without overshadowing the thing.
She doesn't have a lot to do, but I feel like she fills out her role better than she does in the other movies. You know what I mean? I feel like she works better in this series as a supporting character.
Yeah. Yeah, she does what Storm does. She conjures storms and hey, guys, let's go.
Exactly. It's like, what else are you going to do with her, It's like she conjures up a really epic storm right at a center point in the movie. So it's like, she gets her due.
Oh, someone we almost forgot. Big player, Bishop.
Oh, yeah, Bishop. Oh, God. Any background you can tell us about this character from the comics?
Oh, yeah, sure. Bishop is, again, well, mind you, he's a big character in the Wolverine the X-Men series in the future. So again, he's pretty much imagine this role but expanded upon in the cartoon.
Okay.
Essentially, he is a guy. He's the new leader of the X-Men in the future.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about this, but at least in the future, the idea is like the X-Men all died in the past, with the exception of Wolverine and Xavier, because Xavier's in the future now.
Yeah.
And essentially, with Xavier gone for a while and Cyclops and all the bunch of dead, this guy he led the X-Men. I believe his story, and I could be wrong on this, but from what I understand, I'm just going off what I've heard in the commentaries on the Wolverine the X-Men on this guy. I believe he was born in one of the mutant concentration camps.
Oh, okay.
I believe so, and again, he's the most popular member with the M tattoo, with the M serial number on his face.
Right.
Did he have that in this movie? Did he have the M on his face? I'm just saying everyone else did. I would expect him to.
Yeah.
In the comics, he has that, and sometimes they shave the head, sometimes they give him the dreadlocks, and here they give him the dreadlocks. The gun, he doesn't really always need a gun to fire his powers, but it's okay. It's fine. I'm saying, these are minor things, but I'm saying it was cool, though. That's pretty much his power says. Power says, like, you blast him with energy. It's kind of like Gambit, only he has to redirect it, or else it's not going to go well.
Yeah, right.
He can fire any energy as long as it's fired to him first. He absorbs it and then throws it out. It's kind of like Sebastian Shaw from First Class.
Okay, yeah.
Except he has to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I feel like with all the mutants in the future in this movie, it's like none of them get really expanded roles, because obviously most of the screen time in this movie is in the 70s, but I feel like it would have been so easy for this movie to get derailed with so many characters and not giving any of them substantial stuff to do, which has been a problem with this film series in the past. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, in the first movie, isn't Jubilee in there for like 2 seconds? You know what I mean? It's like they'll just shove characters in there and like just literally not do a damn thing with them, just for the sake of fan service.
At least they gave these heroes for a little screen time and they had good stuff to do.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this was easily, I feel, the most well-balanced of all the X-Men movies, which is pretty insane when you think about just the sheer number of characters and actors in here.
Actually, hold on a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Roughly, actually, 20 if you count. Okay, let's just say 21 characters.
Is that counting future and past versions as two separate entities?
Well, no, everyone pretty much. Wolverine goes back in time.
Well, okay, yeah, I don't count Wolverine, but I do count Patrick Stewart.
That all counts him as one. That all counts him as one character. So that's 21 people.
I don't count Patrick Stewart and McAvoy as two.
I'll admit, I'm sorry. I mean, I was counting the characters, but the actors, yeah, you're right. It's more with the actors. I'm saying all the characters, 21 characters.
Because that's what I'm saying, because it's like not only do you have like 20 different characters, but then you also have multiple versions of those characters. And they all get great stuff to do.
Oh yeah, actually 22 if you count Nixon.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. I forget who said this, but it really cracked me up. One of the reviews where it's like they said the actor who played Nixon.
Futurama Nixon.
Yeah. Who was that?
That's Brad Jones.
Oh my God. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it was like literally an actor, like the makeup artist was trying to make Futurama Nixon.
The thing about Nixon in this one, I know we're kind of jumping around, but that's what the movie does.
Exactly. It's that there's no
thing
other
about. Okay, so our president in this film is Nixon, because our timeline, just to kind of clarify if anyone's not, it should be, if I'm correct, late 70s because Vietnam's going on.
Yeah, late 70s. Yeah.
I think they're trying.
No. If Vietnam's going on, I think it would be like mid-70s, because Vietnam ended in like the...
All right, fine. The point is, it's towards the negotiating times of the Vietnam, because they're going to Paris to negotiate terms or something, right?
So it'd be about the mid-70s.
I'm assuming like towards the end of the Vietnam War, which would be maybe like mid-70s.
Right.
If I were to randomly guess, like 74. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Because like in the X-Men continuity, again, the continuity can kind of like weirdly warp because of this stuff. take it for what you will, even though it doesn't always match up. The logic of the X-Men films is that, okay, you get your 40s, that's Magneto in concentration camp, your 60s is First Class, 70s is Now, 80s is Wolverine and Origins, and 90s is when, technically the first X-Men film's in the 90s.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, if not that, then at least, actually, yeah, that's between like the end of 2000 is when the X-Men film was. So you take it for what you will. Anyway, that's it.
I always take that movie. Yeah, it's like late 90s because that's when it was made, and it's very like it feels like the time period. So.
Like Cyclops is like, I don't know, he's like 17.
Exactly.
He's like 17 or something in that First Class film. So that's in the 80s. So
Right.
27. He has 27. I don't know. Anyway, I guess it makes sense. Regardless, anyway. So I'm just trying. Oh yeah, Nixon. So yeah, Nixon's our president, which is if we're not gonna have Senator Kelly in this, so he's pretty much the closest we're gonna get. Trask and Richard Nixon. That's pretty much our fill-in for Senator.
Can I just mention one thing about Trask?
Sure.
Oh God, I hate to say it, but it was funny though. Like when Trask showed up, like when it first flashes the picture of him, my theater just erupted in laughter from just the whole, like, oh, it's Tyrion from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something about the height or something.
No, I actually, that's one of the things I really like about Trask and about just Peter Dinklage in general is, man, it's like Peter Dinklage is just a hell of an actor because it's it's nothing, there's like literally nothing to do with his height in terms of how good his performances are.
I know, it's amazing. I was literally Tiki, I wrote it down in front of me here. I was going to say that. I was going to say that Peter Dinklage is such a good actor that you don't even recognize. I almost don't even notice, especially in this film.
Exactly.
Like in Elf, it's literally a gag, but here, I saw him walking down that hallway, and like very in the back of my mind, like, there was like a voice saying like, okay, maybe did they format the hallway to him because he looks tall, but it's just the acting. That's the thing.
Yeah, right.
The acting is so good on this guy. Like, it doesn't even matter. Regardless, I knew Peter Dinklage was a good actor. I'm saying, well, Trask is different than the X-Men films, but
I'm pretty sure that the laughter in my theater was just because of the Game of Thrones connection. Sure.
No, that's fine. But regardless, I'm just saying, Peter Dinklage is fantastic. He knocks it out of the ballpark. He doesn't have as much as advertised as you would think in this film, but he have good stuff.
Well, he's got this great, like, thick Southern accent to him, and it's just like, oh, it's awesome.
I don't hear a Southern accent, actually.
Well, what would you define the accent as? Because it's very much an accent. I was kind of having trouble placing it, too.
I don't know, I just heard it as just it's proper.
Okay, well, I love the deep voice. It's like he just disguises his voice, you know what I mean? He sounds nothing like how he does on Game of Thrones.
Well, I don't watch him on Game of Thrones. I've seen him in other stuff, not Game of Thrones.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I've seen enough of the Tyrion clips to know what he sounds like, and he definitely sounds nothing like it.
Before we get to Nixon, real quick, let me just say this.
What else is there to talk about Nixon?
I was gonna mention that. Okay, let me mention the thing about Nixon real quick. Okay, the thing with Nixon is that I think it's funny. This guy, he just sounds more like he's doing a Nixon impression along with the makeup, but except towards the latter half when he's talking to Magneto, he actually sounds like Nixon. It sounds like Nixon at points, but usually just sounds like an impression.
I mean, I thought that just the over-the-top Nixon just worked for this movie because everything in the 70s was a little heightened, so I had no problem with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when he's talking to Magneto, he sounds like actual Nixon. And the thing is, I'm back in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, this Nixon's not as good as Watchmen Nixon. I like that Nixon much better. Or Anthony Hopkins.
That's a really tough Nixon to that Nixon was really great.
Yeah, Watchmen Nixon and Anthony Hopkins Nixon. Those are good Nixons. But he looked like, I'll say he looked like them though, in my opinion. Anyway. So thing about Trask I want to mention real quick. So plot hole here. Big major plot hole that cannot be explained unless you go with my logic here.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, well, you remember X-Men 3, don't you?
Yeah, I mean...
He's in that movie.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And he's rather different.
Yeah.
He's a tall black man.
Oh my.
So, Now, here's the way around it. There is an actual genuine way around it, so take it
So
away.
it's like a Two-Face situation.
No, no. Let me say it. Let me say it. Actually, I found an interesting fact about Trask, which opened me to this possibility.
Okay.
Now, I'm certain the director did not think of this,
Yeah.
and he admits, well, yeah, it's a big plot hole within the thing. I couldn't help it. Can you blame me? I got Peter Dinklage. He's an awesome actor, man. So we can't blame him. But here's actual way around it, so this would help his
I
case.
still want to see a Billy D. Williams Two-Face one day.
I think we all would, Tiki. Anyway, so Trask in the comics, apparently, if you look on your local Wikipedia page or something about the history of this guy, there's actually a family of Trask.
Oh, okay.
So Trask, he's got Trask has a bunch of different people to take on the lineage. Like there's some point like a Trask teams up with the Master Mold, like a Sentinel machine, basically that puts out more Sentinels, on avenging his father by building a Sentinel army. And there's like a whole Trask family of like a lineage, if you will, like Trask the Second, Trask the Third.
Right.
So what I'm saying is like I think like it was like Larry Trask was the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, here's in the X-Men film, he's only credited as Trask, and they only call him Trask. So maybe that's a son.
Oh, okay. So you're saying in X3 they only call him Trask.
They only call him Trask in that movie. He's only credited as Trask, so they don't call him Boulevard.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. All right, so yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I hear you.
In Wolverine, the X-Men, they kind of make him mixed, so it's kind of that's their way around it. He looks, it's like the lighting. He always looks kind of tan.
Right. Okay.
But regardless, so I'm saying that's my solution around it. That was my biggest problem. Like, you can never fix that. But wait, actually, you can if it's Trask family. Just call him Trask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But let's. Oh yeah, the thing about the time travel I wanted to mention. A big plot with the time travel that I found a way around is that, okay, remember in the beginning, after we had this really great, awesome, like, this fight scene, unfortunately all our favorites here, they get decapitated or stabbed.
It's awful.
Yeah, I know. I was like, actually, in this film, whenever a character died in the future, I would genuinely react to like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'd go like, ouch. Ooh.
Storm was a big one. Like, when the Storm one happened near the end.
Forget Storm. Talk about Colossus.
Okay, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, when the Storm thing happened near the end, me and my friend just looked at each other, and I was just like... That's all I can say. Like, my friend, for some reason, was really shocked at it, but I was just like, what are you going to do? She's dead.
Iceman, Sunspot... I reacted to all of them, bottom line, but... I don't know, Iceman being decapitated, like, oh,
that's
man.
just, it's like, oh, God, it's awful to even think about.
Then, like, the other guy, at least the other guy went out fighting. His arm got cut off when he was still fighting, and he died. The main one, Colossus, is the one that really got the most reaction out of it. Like,
oh yeah.
Colossus.
They tear Colossus in frickin' half. Oh, God.
I am claiming bull on how Magneto died, though.
Oh, okay. Remind me.
He gets stabbed by metal?
Yeah.
And he made like a huge shield that protected everything except...
Yeah, I hear ya.
How does he get stabbed by metal? He can sense it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine, though. I'm saying maybe he was just distracted by the situation, so I don't know.
Alright, well, time travel plot hole, my friend.
Well, no, yeah, the plot hole's this. All our guys die, but preferably the opening when they die. Kitty Pryde, Bishop runs back there because we're in Bishop's mind. Apparently, he's the one who went back in time. So we find out they disappear. And my initial thought was, what the? Oh, and then we see the X-Men room. And I'm thinking, okay, we're in the danger room. That's perfect.
Right.
We weren't in the danger room. We actually went back in time. Now, my problem with this is, my original line of logic was this. I'm sure a lot of people's line of logic was this originally. So, hence the problem here. So we get sent back in time, apparently. We get sent back in time. Our guys get killed, so when we come back to see our guys, so how are they in the future? They all died in the past. Okay, yeah. But there's a way around it, simple way around it. They did mention this. I just think it took me a little while to get, and I'm sure audiences, I would hope. They go 4 days in the past, apparently. So the only reason behind this would be, otherwise it's a plot hole, because they said they went 4 days in the past, apparently.
Right.
So apparently they had a contingency set that, okay, if anything goes wrong, if we die, we're going to go 4 days in the past. We got to be prepared for this. So regardless, our guys die, then they go 4 days in the past. So apparently they're just ready for this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know, either that or they got sent in the future. Okay, so I guess Bishop is sent. Okay. So I guess what happened is our past guys send Bishop into the future, and then when things go south, he goes back in the past.
Right.
I don't know. I guess that's the way it works. Again, time travel. That's the only confusing part of time travel for me in that opening.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I told you this off air, but it's like I think this is where me not really being into the comics or any other X-Men related stuff kind of helps me, because it's just like I'm able to personally just kind of, just kind of go with it. And I'm the type of person who doesn't really find it that easy to just go with things in movies. But man, right away, this one just had me.
Well, Tiki, that's not about characters. That's about laws of time travel. I mean, if you die in the past, you die in the future.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it's them. I'm just trying to focus on like what exactly happened there in the beginning. It happened upon me during the end. That's the only way it could happen. If they either have a contingency.
All I'm saying is that the film just wrapped me up so much that I just wasn't paying attention to plot holes.
Right.
So,
I'm with you too. Initially, I didn't pick up on. I just like, what the heck, and then I just kind of picked it up. Okay, you're going back in the mind. That's cool.
Mm-hmm, right.
Which is a cool method of time travel, and as for mentioned, we have a cool way of like sending Wolverine back because of like only going that far back in time. Because then 4 days apparently is the max you can go.
Mm-hmm.
4 days is the max you can go without hurting your head or hurting your like psyche.
Yeah,
so
right.
Wolverine can heal from this sort of stuff, so that's the only reason he can go back, and that's the big change. And that Kitty Pryde went back because we all love Kitty Pryde. She's a great character. Usually, I mean, in the comics too. In this film, when she's around, she's great. But usually not around that much.
Yeah.
But so essentially, Wolverine's sent back because he can sustain it, and then he has to convince our past guys of the fact that he's from the future and he's trying to starve off the apocalypse.
And this is just where this movie just really started to just like take me, because I was so invested in everything. I mean, I don't know, like. First of all, I love the first, when you first see Wolverine in the past. Like, that whole scene is just so well done. Yeah.
Can I say something right before that? Yeah. The moment right before that, I want to say the plot was laid out so well in this film. Because I love how Xavier and Magneto, they just kind of went through the gambit. Not gambit, but they went through. They went through like what exactly, why it specifically has to be this year. Mm-hmm. Like why they have to get him, and they mentioned like the caveats of that. Like, Charles is being really difficult. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I never quite got this. So was Charles in Vietnam?
I never picked up on that.
Because the thing with Charles is that
I don't know. I'm not really the right guy to ask about.
No, I mean it's not about the comics. It's just about the movie itself. I'm saying they don't even know what they did in the comics. The point is,
I wouldn't think he was, because basically what I picked up on the Xavier stuff was essentially Vietnam came along, and I don't know if he was in Vietnam or not. All I know is that he fell into his depression.
Yeah, I'm
based
saying
on the fact that a lot of the first-class characters. And by the way, I thought that was a really clever way to kind of deal with, some of the secondary first-class characters like Banshee not being there.
Well, I mean, they didn't say Banshee died.
Well, they didn't say him specifically, but I mean, they...
Well, remember, all of Magneto's guys are dead. All of his guys lived. Or at least presumably.
But I'm saying they kind of did kind of imply that a lot of the people from the title First Class did perish in the war. Didn't they imply that?
Well, let me think. I think our only guy actually might be Banshee.
You mean our only supporting character?
From First Class, who's not just we don't see.
Okay.
I'm saying because we see Beast, we see Charles, we see Mystique, we see Alex. I think Banshee's the only one, so we just assume he's safe somewhere, if not in the war.
I assumed he was dead, so.
I mean, Banshee. I don't know. I hope Banshee's okay.
Yeah.
I like Banshee, because we know, like, one of them turned and she's dead, like the fake angel.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, fake angel's dead. A plot hole I'm going to address right now, which is the dead cronies of Magneto. Azazel.
Mm-hmm.
So big thing with Azazel here, and there's a way around it. Problem with Azazel right off the bat, so we do see basically Magneto's guys died. I couldn't quite see his picture, but then he mentioned like they all died, so we assume that he's also dead. He's Nightcrawler's father, Tiki.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now there is a way around it. Mystique, they say Mystique went away for a while, so like she's been on her own adventures again, opening up for a possible spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, Mystique, she went away for a while. She had her own adventure, so for a few years, presumably, and perhaps during those travels, she and that guy, they had a baby.
Wait, okay, so are you saying that Mystique is Nightcrawler's mother?
Oh, she is Nightcrawler's mother.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Again, that's one of the things with
they hint at
I'm the noob when it comes to X-Men.
they hint at an X-Men too.
Okay. Now I feel stupid.
So, regardless, Mystique and Azazel are Nightcrawler's parents.
Okay. Oh my God.
And
I don't know why I didn't know that.
Maybe during the. So I'm saying like if they don't have like either one of two things. One, they had like a rendezvous in her travel solo, and then she had the baby, and then like something happened to it. Like the baby's alone somewhere, and he gets adopted by the circus or something, presumably. I'm saying that's what happened in the comics. So regardless.
Yeah.
And in the movies, like I think he was part of a freak show before he
he was
up in the church.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that, or she's pregnant throughout this whole movie.
That would be interesting.
One of those two. Otherwise,
that would add an interesting dimension to the whole thing. Huh.
So it's one of those two things. Otherwise, we got nothing. Like she has to be in her first year of pregnancy too, or something, because she's like, I hope she doesn't drink, but I think she actually does take one drink.
Right.
So maybe that's the reason for the mutation. I don't know.
Well, at least she's not like shooting up heroin like Xavier. Yeah, I know it's not actually heroin, but.
But speaking of that, that's bringing us back to Xavier and his explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, so Xavier. The reason I question if he was in Vietnam or not is because Hank has a line saying, "Then the war started, and then Charles fell into a depression." So I'm wondering. If Charles went over there.
When that line came up, like I said, what I picked up on was that Charles's class got perished in the war, not necessarily Charles himself.
Well, there's only one member that's, Havoc's in the war, but we see he's okay.
Okay, but then again, there could have also been more people that we just didn't meet, between First Class and this movie, you know what I mean?
You got a good point, because they do say Charles and Hank tried to run the school for a while.
Right, yeah.
So maybe those recruits that were in alongside Havoc were all of his students, and I don't know, regardless. I'm thinking, regardless, I think he's falling into a depression maybe because of that and just kind of the state of maybe the war depressed him also, just the fact of because he could hear the screams of people.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he could hear the screams. That makes me think, well, if he's on the front lines.
I love how they tackled Xavier's power in this. It's so good.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Regardless, he's hearing screams and presumably from the war happening.
Right.
And presumably mutants in the war effort.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless, I'm wondering if he's on the front lines or not of that. Maybe he was in the war, then he was sent home or something. I don't know. Because he was too much from the barracks. It's open-ended, so regardless, he's depressed.
Okay.
But I love the explanation for why he can walk.
Mm-hmm.
He injects this serum, and that kind of fixes a plot hole, but it's going to be screwed up regardless because of the end of this film. So it's fine.
Yeah.
The plot hole of like how he can walk in Wolverine Origins, and in X-Men First.
X3.
Yeah.
Yeah, X3 was the big one. Like, weren't people talking about that even after First Class?
Yeah, so I guess I like the explanation here, because that was my big thing going into this. So how can
it's a great character thing, because essentially he has to sacrifice something about himself in order to regain his powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I still haven't looked up how he walks in the comics. I feel bad for that, but I assumed it was like a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, so I like the idea of the serum. Yeah, you're right. He's giving up something. He's giving up his gift. I love how Eric puts it, too. You give up your gift.
Right, I love that idea.
Just to walk? And he says, I couldn't, so I could sleep.
Yeah. And, oh my god, I mean, McAvoy, let me just say, McAvoy is one of my favorite actors. I've loved the guy ever since Atonement, and he just delivers just a stellar performance here. You know, he's also coming up in a movie called Filth, where he just essentially plays like just a deranged person of some kind.
What's the movie called?
It's called Filth. I don't know that much about it. All I know is that McAvoy just plays a really, really like awful human being in that movie. That's really all I know.
Well, anyway,
But that's what, you know, it's like McAvoy, he's got such a good range, you know, and so it's like, you know, he could be Mr. Tumnus, and then he could be something like this, where it's like you really just get into this guy's head, you know what I mean? It's like, in a way, this really is less about Wolverine and more about Xavier and Mystique. You know what I mean? It really is their movie.
Yeah, again, I wish they didn't put this in the trailer. It would have been such a cool line. But the line that kind of sums up this whole film is it's a film that's battling for the soul of Charles Xavier, and it's appropriate during this time because it's kind of in a hopeless place during America, I guess.
Right.
Somewhat of a hopeless place, you know? Like things aren't looking good right now for people. And it was like a paranoid time, and during a paranoid time and a time of just things aren't going that well.
Oh yeah.
And essentially, you have to hope again.
Yeah, I agree that, I mean, to tell you the truth, the way I approached the marketing in this movie, it's like, first trailer definitely got me excited. After that, I was like, okay, I'm going on radio silence with this movie. Like, I didn't watch any of the other trailers. So.
But yeah, so point is, first of all, yeah, that's a great explanation. So like, you could always just say in the future, okay, well, I don't know for some reason or not, he uses they don't give a reason, but for some reason he's going to use that serum to walk. But I think they just kind of signal. I think they just
signal. Oh, hey, I feel like walking today.
Well, then again, actually, that's a problem because he's using his powers and.
Yeah, right.
Well, regardless, the point is it all gets wiped out anyway, so no one cares.
Like, whatever. And no one cares about X3, so.
Definitely no one cares about Origins.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, God. I feel like we're glossing over the first scene with Wolverine in the past. So let's talk about
I love it. You know why I love it so much, Tiki?
Why?
I love it because we're just in the middle of an adventure of 70s Wolverine.
Exactly.
And this is the kind of stuff he would get into, Tiki. He would get into this. Like, Wolverine has, like, such a great history of, like, being this really cool, like, Han Solo, Indiana Jones type character.
Yeah.
Would just be getting the misadventures. And this is the stuff you do. Again, kind of like how Deadpool's had a colorful history. Wolverine, he's gone around. He's had a bunch of jobs. And just to remind you, this is before he had the adamantium on his skeleton.
Well, yeah, I think we get that pretty clear when the bone claws come out.
I'm saying for any who just might be really casual and just think, well, he got his claws cut off at the end of the Wolverine or something. Like, why can he? The thing is, he had bone claws at the end of that.
Did you just spoil the end of Wolverine for me?
No.
I'm just kidding. No, but I really, like, I totally forgot that the bone claws were going to be in this movie. Like, I'm sure that info was out there, but I just totally forgot. So it's like, when that happened, I basically had the same reaction as Logan did. I was like, what? He has those? Okay, cool.
The metal detector is a funny gag.
That's classic. That's just a classic. Like, that would be right at home at, like, a Marvel Studios movie. They really did the humor great.
Even before I saw the first X-Men movie, I always pitched that in my mind. Like, it would be so funny if Wolverine goes through airport security, goes through that metal detector. And he does in that first X-Men movie, and they always bring that back.
Right.
But
I mean, that's one of the great things about this movie. It's like, they just literally bring back like all these recurring gags and all these like one of the cool things to BlueDragonFive was I think there's like just a couple of shots where Fassbender Magneto has the metal spears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like they work in like so much from this series and tie it all together and somehow make it make coherent sense.
Oh yeah. But Speaking so Wolverine, first of all, we're in the middle of a Wolverine adventure, which is great. It's like sleeping with some gang boss's daughter, with some mobster's daughter or something like the head honcho.
Right.
You know, like the guys come in there, and however, I do have a problem with this scene. My problem is Wolverine. Come on, man, you're from the future. Do you expect? I mean, Charles is one thing. Charles is the whole point of it. But when you're explaining just these average Joes,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, like, no, I'm not me. I'm from the future. What did you expect?
Okay, no.
Come on.
No. I actually really like that because to me, I just took it as just like Logan is so shell shocked by just what happened, and like he's just kind of processing it, you know. So it's like when he's
he
like,
acts like that, yeah, but I'm just saying the logic of it all. I mean, he should know. He's been prepped for this. He said, "Okay."
well, like I said, I think it just has to come down to the fact that his mind is still reeling from getting sent back 40 years or however long it was, probably longer than that, right? It's like Isn't this in like something like 2020? I mean,
Okay,
I know in the comics it was 2013, but
okay, they never give a year in this movie, so that's another thing I wanted to bring up real quick. I'm not quite sure when this movie's how far in the future this thing said. It's going to come into play during the ending, because I'm not sure if the ending of this film is in the present or the future.
yeah, that kind of confused me too.
Because we don't know how far. Like, I always presumed, like in the Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon, it's 20 years. The Apocalypse stuff is 20 years in the future.
Okay.
In the Wolverine cartoon. In this, well, the gap in the let's see, in the original X-Men, let's see, present was 80s back then, so 80s to 90s, 90s to 2000s. That's about 33 years is the original story. So maybe let's just say 33 years.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. Like, you know, Wolverine, you know, he's just he literally just, you know, he's. I really liked his interaction.
Let me take that back. Actually, it can't be 33 years for this thing because everyone would be much older if it was 33 years.
Yeah.
Let's just say from a vicinity of 10 to 20 years.
All right.
Maybe like 10. Looks more like 10 years if it is that far in the future.
Mm.
The other possibility is that it's 5 years in the future, just things broke bad really fast.
Yeah, right.
That's always a possibility. Cause that's the thing I'm kind of getting from the end of this film. Maybe it was just
Right,
5 years ago.
I hear you.
Because the thing I wanted to actually, I'm sorry, I keep kind of taking this off the top, but it relates to it big time. Now, you don't mind if I spoil this at the end of Wolverine, do I? This is like the post-credit scene.
I don't care. Oh, I know what the post-credit scene is. Isn't it just McKellen and Patrick Stewart just coming out?
Technically, pointless scene.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's in the present. Remember, I told you going into this film, I was wondering. I told you going into this film, I believe, that we're going to jump in between 3 timelines. Past, present, and future. We don't go to the present at all.
No, that's true.
That's potentially the ending, but so I guess the connecting point makes me think a lot more that the end result is just the present than the future.
Right. Okay, I hear you.
It's so Magneto and Xavier go to recruit Wolverine to help for the future cause. So we see them get. So that's just going to lead us to the future, pretty much, presumably. So, because Trask Industries says, you know, it's just an advertisement for Trask Industries. That's it.
Right. I hear you.
So that's anyway. That's a minor point. The point is, I wonder if anyone was ticked off that there's no present stuff.
Oh, I'm sure people were. Yeah.
Like, how did Xavier come back to life?
Oh yeah, that was a big one. I mean, I always that didn't bother me because they
do give a reason in X-Men 3, like at the
end.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's like just freaking see it was like we knew Xavier was alive from the post-credit scene in X-Men 3. That's you know that didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm just trying to think of my. So Wolverine wakes up and. When he wakes up, he makes quick damage of those guys. And I love how he says, "You're going to give me your keys, give me your keys and your clothes, so I can get out of here," or something. Oh. Very Terminator-ish. But also, I got to ask, why didn't Wolverine have pants on?
Because he was sleeping with some girl the night before. That's why.
Okay. Well, my point is, why do we have to see that? Why do the women have to be so vocal about their love of Hugh Jackman?
Oh, I don't know.
We have to see.
Yeah, he did in fact barrel in this movie.
But, Origins wasn't enough for people.
Oh god.
Anyway, so yeah, I love just being in the middle of a Wolverine adventure. I would love to see that movie. See how that went.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay. Anyway.
that's the mark of a great movie when it's like all these scenes are like, oh man, I want to follow that character. I want to follow that character.
Well, with that said, want to get into Magneto's where we find Magneto?
Well, we should probably address the first scene with Charles first. The first scene with McAvoy.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So Charles, he's been injecting himself with the well, not a cure, but like the treatment so he can walk.
I love how they play it off as a drug addiction. Like, I know it's not actually a drug addiction, but...
I at first thought it was heroin from when he did the belt. Because remember, he did the belt, then they explained it was the cure.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Because at first, he just mentioned he was depressed, and I was thinking, oh, no, poor Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how can he walk? And then they explain how he can walk.
But even when they do explain it, they still it is still an addiction for him.
Oh, yeah.
And so I really like that, man.
I feel so bad for Xavier because, yeah, he just hears the screams of the bad stuff going on and all the echoings of his failures.
And who would want to live with that? Like, who can blame him for wanting to get rid of that?
There's actually a really great moment in a comic, if you mind if I bring it up.
No, go for it.
Neil Adams, he wrote a book recently. It's called The First X-Men. It's literally the first X-Men team before Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, that's convoluted. It's out of continuity, so don't put too much. I know it's X-Men real complicated, but point is, the idea in this book was that Wolverine was actually the founder of the X-Men, but he forgot about it.
Oh God!
Because essentially, he's the one who started the X-Men. He formed the team, but he was so bad at it, mutants kept dying.
Okay.
And he goes to a young Xavier's door, and he knocks on it. And he basically says he brings a dying mutant to there, and he says, "Look, I need your help. You need this. I can't have another mutant die. I can't do this. I need your help." And essentially, Xavier says, I don't know what you're talking about. And essentially, he's denying, I'm not a mutant. I'm going to have a life. And basically says, no, you're not going to have a life. You know why? Because you're a mutant. And he says some line saying, you'll never have to hear you'll never have to hear those screams in your head again.
Right.
The screams of those mutants dying in here. Because we know he can do that from the end of the third X-Men movie. Just the third X-Men movie. Mary kept hearing Cyclops die.
Sure, yeah.
And because of that, and then basically Wolverine says, I'm not a mutant, get out of here. And then Wolverine kicks the door, and he says, you know how I know you're a mutant? How? I thought that last part.
Mm-hmm.
It was in his memory, he read his mind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Anyway, sorry. Cool. Anyway, you're right, it is very depressing what's happening to Xavier, and Charles says in the future that I was a very difficult man in my youth. It was very sad at that point, Yeah. You have to be patient with me, Logan. I love the conceit, by the way, of Wolverine, that he has to stay calm or he's going to break the connection. I love how that plays off.
Right, yeah. I mean, they really do give perfect justification for Wolverine, being the guy to go back, It's, oh, God. And... yeah, it's just another layer of Hugh Jackman's performance as this character. You know what I mean? It's like,
now this could possibly be. I'm hoping not. It could possibly be his last performance as Wolverine.
I don't think no, because he's already signed on to Age of Apocalypse. He's already signed on to another.
Whoa, hold it. He can't be signed on for Age. He signed on for Age of Apocalypse.
I'm pretty sure. I know he signed on for another Wolverine.
I know he signed on for Wolverine too, but you sure? That would be a new development if he signed on for Apocalypse. Do you know that for sure?
Okay, I don't know for a fact.
See, that's the thing. I don't. Plus, they really kind of made it so they can get away with him not being in that film.
Right. But like I said, at the very least, he is going on for another Wolverine film.
Well, assuming he's in good health, which we're hoping for.
Oh, I didn't know he was having.
Well, I mean, his skin cancer came back, so.
Oh no! Oh God!
He get treatment for it, and he looks okay. And he's been all happy. He's making jokes on the red carpet about he wants Marvel and Fox to patch things so they can have a crossover for the Avengers.
Right. Well,
so
good luck with that, Hugh.
I know. I'm sure he's joking, but some people.
Yeah. Oh God.
Regardless. So I'm hoping, I'm pulling for you. I want to see that Wolverine too. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be fine. I'm hoping that. Anyway.
All right, so let's talk about Beast in this movie for a second.
I love how he looks in this. Much better than the previous one.
I
think he's looked better. The way they did Beast in this film is better than they've ever done him before. If not, well, Kelsey Grammer's pretty good.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer was the best thing about the third one to me. So
He was the best part of the third. But still, in this film, he was really good. They did the beast effects so well. I mean,
But
don't get
let
me
me
wrong.
ask you this, BlueDragonFive. What do you think of the whole thing where he kind of had that hulking elk? The hulking out element to him.
No, I like that. Was the only way I figured he was going to be able to do it.
Okay. Well, but it kind of does raise the plot hole of
Well, he can control it,
why is he like that all the time in the future though?
Well, no, he's more accepting of his gift.
In
And
the
also,
future?
remember, it's two things. One, he's injecting himself with that cure, so presumably after
Oh
Charles
yeah,
stops
okay,
doing
you're
it.
right. You're right.
So
Okay.
remember, the reason he can even control it is because he's using that cure. So it wears off usually.
Sure. All right. Fair
And
enough.
he
Fair
can
enough.
somewhat control it from what I gathered because when he turns blue, he's controlling it. When
Right.
that's as long. I don't think it's a time release thing. I think it's more so he controls the beast out,
Okay.
but to beast in, he has to use the cure. I mean,
Okay, I see.
I keep saying cure.
All right.
It's not cure.
I get
the
you.
treatment.
I get you. Yeah. That's fine. All right. So yeah, that's yeah. Okay. That takes care of the one problem I had
Yeah.
with Beast. So there you go.
I didn't mind the look in First Class, but it's much better here. A lot of people. I don't like Cat Beast, but it was a little more human looking than Cat in that movie. But here it's all human-ish looking. You know, it was much better. It's more Beast than Cat.
And how cool is that scene where
I love it when it throws Wolverine across the room.
yeah, exactly. Oh god.
That was a great scene. It
Just
sets
the way
up
it's set up where it's like Wolverine.
you and me are going to be best.
Yeah.
You and me are going to be best friends. You just don't know it yet. Punches him, enters.
And then you see him
Yeah, becomes blue. I just love hearing Hugh Jackman yell in that classic Wolverine yell. Ah! It's great. And the thing is, Beast and Wolverine are good friends in the comics. In the films, they only showed it in extra.
I mean, yeah, I did think that line was kind of funny, but whatever, it was fine.
I don't know, it's like they are friends in the comics. That's the reason I liked it, and everything else too. Like in Wolverine
I
X-Men,
mean, it's not like they're not friends in X3. They are.
It's more they become. It's actually more they become friends in X3. It's
right.
It makes it sound like that makes it sound like they've been friends for years.
Okay,
but,
well, to be fair, it has been years between X3 and the future in this movie.
Well, he died in the future, remember?
Okay. Oh god. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't have a good explanation for that.
That's fine. It's fine, but I'm saying it's a minor thing. It's fine regardless. He is friends with him regardless. It's fine. Anyway, yeah. So.
Okay, BlueDragonFive. So now I think is a good time to get into what I'm sure you and me have been dying to talk about, which is freaking Quicksilver.
Oh, well, what about Magneto?
Well, Magneto and Quicksilver kind of come in at the same time, don't they?
Okay, well, can we mention the Vietnam mutants real quick? Because there's just like a mini list of them.
Yeah, sure, I guess. We'll make it quick.
Okay, so our Vietnam mutants, this cool idea that our Vietnam mutants get treated lesser because they're mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a cool concept, and then they're basically going to be shipped off to mysterious military guy's base, who we're going to find has a huge role.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And, we got... it was nice to see... I was wondering how he's going to fit into this, seeing Havoc, Alex Summers, Cyclops' brother.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing him in there. And, hey,
Isn't Toad in there, too?
Yes, Toad is in there, too, but it looks very different, but he's there.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see a mutant that really caught my eye. He was really cool. Ink.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Ink was. This is my first introduction to this guy. He had a cool power. Remember, thing is, Tiki, his powers are that he has these different tattoos on his bodies that do different things. And that one tattoo on his arm did that biohazard thing that makes people conscious. Right. Really cool stuff.
This isn't the same character that was in the Electro movie, was it? Elektra, I mean?
No.
Okay, because I know in that movie there was a character with tattoos that had powers, but I'm sorry, I never saw that movie. I just remember a character like that from the advertising.
Anyway, it's just kind of neat that even these times of war, we still got time for racism.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's like that. To tell you the truth, I barely even picked up on the whole theme that they were being treated as like lesser soldiers, but you're absolutely right, it's there. So it's like, oh god, there's so many things going on with this movie.
And I liked how Happy tried to reach out to Mystique, saying, Mystique, you gotta come home to Charles. He's been missing you. You gotta patch things up with that guy.
Mm.
And he says, are you coming with us? He didn't really just say all the stuff I just said. He basically said, are you coming with us? And he communicates.
Right. Yeah.
Good stuff with that kid. And I hope he's going to appear in more, because I like him.
Mm.
I mean, he's brothers with Cyclops, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway. And apparently he's the older brother of Cyclops, presumably.
Okay.
Anyway, so, yeah, back
so now can we talk about Quicksilver?
Okay. Quicksilver.
God.
Lead us in.
Okay, I'm just going to start this off with a pun. Quicksilver literally ran away with the show.
You did.
I mean, here's the great thing about this BlueDragonFive. I mean, of course, I'm sure this was going through both our minds when we saw this, but if you're not aware, if you don't know, Quicksilver is one of the few characters where there's this weird little contractual loophole with him that both Marvel Studios and Fox can use him. However, Fox can depict him as A, the son of Magneto, which they hint at this movie, which is amazing.
Yes.
And B, they can have him be a mutant, whereas in the Marvel Studios movies, they can't refer to him as a mutant.
Yeah, the caveats in this film for him is that he cannot be in the classic costume, and he cannot have a sister.
Okay, right. And so yeah, I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson is going to play Quicksilver in Avengers 2. And I must say, BlueDragonFive, after seeing Quicksilver in this, after hearing all the reaction, because I think it's pretty clear, pretty much everyone who's seen this movie, it's universally Quicksilver is just beloved. Like, not just like he was a cool character. Like, I am talking like people are just eating this guy up.
So I would wager to say that almost everyone, including myself, we might just instantly say that the best scene in the film is the whole breakout sequence.
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, no, actually, I have one scene that I like.
At the very least, the most fun part of the film.
Oh, definitely the most fun. Undoubtedly.
First of all, it's a caper. It's a caper within this giant film with all these plot lines going on.
And even before the breakout, I love this introduction, where it's just like where all the X-Men, like Xavier and Logan and Beast, they all show up. They all show up at Quicksilver's door, and his mom answers.
Mom.
It's like,
first of all,
what are you doing?
We see just the skid marks on the welcome mat. And what's even better about that scene, Tiki, is that we find out that the reason for the skid marks is that just now he's gone in the glove compartment of the car as they're walking to the door. So, actually, when his mother opened the door, skid marks appear, really neat stuff. And then he's like, "What did you do this time?" And he's stolen so much stuff.
Oh my god.
And they actually playing, and I love it. The thing is, I love how smart, he's quick-witted, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
He thinks fast, and I like that.
Uh-huh.
And it's really cool.
It really is, like, this really made me want to see a Flash movie. And I know they're going to do the show, but I straight up want a movie just because you can just do more with a movie visual effects-wise than you can do with a show. But, I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
The thing is, he thinks so smart.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks very smartly, and what I love so much is that in his introduction, he's just using the super speed in front of these guys, and he says, because he's so smart, he says, "Go ahead, you can tell people or try to take them in, but no one will believe you."
Right.
And then he's just so fast, he's like taking the IDs and looking through stuff, and really.
Oh, and then of course we have basically the only reason he just gets suckered into breaking into the Pentagon is because he thinks it sounds cool.
Remember, it's for the glory of it. You can be the man that broke into the Pentagon.
Sure. And it's just, I just love the smile on his face. It's like, oh.
Oh, yeah. And actually, the clever writers of this thing, they did find a way to give him the sister. They has a little sister.
Yeah, they did.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little nod.
Yep.
Anyways, we get this great, wondrous breakout scene because apparently they have. Well, Actually, wait a second. Why do they need to break Magneto out specifically?
Well, I mean, Xavier in the future says they need Magneto. I don't exactly know why they need Magneto, though, because Magneto turns on them pretty much immediately.
Essentially, Magneto's the reason for the downfall of this film. Why
Right.
did they bring him in at all?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Is it just to sway Steve? Because he's the guy that started this mess in the first place by messing with her mind.
Right.
What does Magneto do specifically?
Oh, God. I don't know.
I'm just trying to think. What does he do specifically aside from stir up trouble?
Yeah, just turn his back on them immediately. Oh,
well,
God.
I mean, he's on board for it at first, saying we got to stop Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
let's. We're kind of jumping ahead, but.
Well, I mean, he was going to escape regardless, so I guess it was like we're speeding up the process to get him on our side at least. I guess that's the only logic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah.
I love when Quicksilver, the method by which he breaks the glass by just tapping on it extremely fast.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started. First of all, I'm getting into the scene. Again, it's a caper. I love how it's a caper. So, Xavier and Hank and Wolverine, they walk in there. First of all, Hank's wearing this goofy tourist getup. Has a fanny pack, and he's like, I love how Hank's using signs. So, he's a sign. He's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like using the thing to turn on Sanford and Son.
Oh, yeah, right.
Which everyone was so catchy, by the way.
Did you catch the one shot of the guard who was getting into it?
It's like Gallica guy. It's like Gallica guy's grandfather.
Exactly, yeah.
I love Gallica guy's grandfather. He's awesome. He's like dancing the music. I'm sure people after watching this film, they're going to turn on some Sanford and Son. And while that's happening, Wolverine and Xavier, everything about this scene works.
Oh, yeah.
They're walking in there.
I completely forgot about the elevator stuff.
Before the elevator. Don't start on the elevator. I'm building that.
Okay.
They walk in there and they're accosted by two guards and Xavier doesn't have his mind ability, so he can't just change these guys' minds. He's walking, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, oh, by the way, real quick, Xavier has a really cool hover chair in the future. Okay, so he's walking to the guys, and he's basically saying, okay, we're part of the department, and we're just trying to, we've been told to come down here and check out the, are you CIA? No, we're part of this other division. These coming up random letters.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, like it's just so funny to see Wolverine is chosen in this film to go back in time. The main reason is because he started the X-Men franchise and he has a rapport with Charles Xavier.
Sure.
Ideally, he's got a friendship with this guy and it pays off. And now knowing what he knows about Xavier, and he's now in the past with this reckless Xavier, he's like saying, "What the heck is wrong with this guy? Like, how far had he evolved?"
Uh-huh.
And essentially in this moment he says, Charles, you're not even, he's like thinking to himself, Charles, you're not even trying, man. He's just coming up random letters and then he just punches out the guys and he knocks him out and says, I'm sorry, were you done? Cool stuff.
Oh.
I don't know if Xavier was actually going anywhere with it or he's just that lazy.
Right.
Anyway, so they walk in there and then, Quicksilver. So cool. The guy gets in the elevator to deliver Magneto his lunch. And then he just appears in the reflection because he just sped into the elevator, and he brings out the duct tape, tapes the guy like a giant cocoon to the side of the elevator so no one sees him. He's dressed as the guard, and then he breaks him out with that, as he mentioned.
Oh, that's great.
Really, really cool. I like also how he tapes a little message that says "duct" or "mind the glass."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He's a courteous breaker outer.
Indeed.
Remember, Tiki, inform our lovely viewing audience why Magneto is in prison.
Well, you're probably the better person to talk about that because I did see. Is it explained better in First Class?
No, it's explained in this movie.
Okay, well, okay. I'm sorry. I just
it was a big plot. It was a funny.
I didn't know if it was connected to First Class or not. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, I would have explained it.
All right. So the reason why he's in the Pentagon is because he presumably killed JFK.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
How do you not remember that?
No, it's not that I didn't remember it. It's just that when I saw that, even when I saw it in the theaters, I was kind of thinking if I missed something from First Class or not. So. Well,
it didn't help either. That was another reason he was suspected because he lifted the sub and did all the missile stuff.
Mm-hmm. We could literally sit here and talk for an hour about how cool that slow motion scene with Quicksilver is, but
I think just mentioning he goes in slow motion, and the way they do his super speeds really hasn't been done before. Even with Flash, they don't really do this.
Right.
Which some people debatably say Quicksilver's faster than Flash. Debatable, but go ahead. Your oranges and bananas. But the point is, he slows. He moves so fast. And it's really impressive. He slows time itself down. We see it from his perspective as he just walks around casually doing stuff. And I love the mundane. I love the sequence because of that.
Oh yes, I was thinking of you this whole scene because I know you love your mundanity. So
I love my mundanity, and I love a little bit because they're in the elevator getting up to the kitchen where they just knocked out guys, by the way.
Uh-huh.
And in that scene, we get the great line where he says, my mom used to date some guy who could had magnetic powers.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And I love just Quicksilver react talking to the motioning to the guard too. He says, "What did you do to get in here?" He says, "I killed the president." And he looks at him like, really, really funny stuff.
Oh,
also, he's he's such a smart guy saying, "Why are you holding my head?" He says, "So you don't get whiplash."
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I love that. That's such good logic.
And I love how Quicksilver doesn't know, but he could probably figure it out that this guy is his father. And I don't know if it's because of that. I kind of wish instead of deflecting the bullet from Charles's face, it was from it was from Magneto's face.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been like, I know you're my dad. I'm saving you, buddy. It would have been cool if they did. Then either way, he's so cool, and he's like a smile on his face. And Wolverine has like a little mini arc with this guy because at first he's just some kid, but then he says, "Good work, kid."
Yeah.
Well, pat on the back for Quicksilver. Good for him. And then later on, it pays off when things are going south. I freed that guy. Man, I'm feeling guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Yeah, just the idea that they acknowledge the fact that he may or may not be his son, and most likely he is his son, is so cool.
I believe that...
Maximoff is a surname of Magneto, so yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, I believe that, I know this isn't, a big, revelation or anything, but I believe that one of either Bryan Singer or I think it was Fassbender, actually. I believe Fassbender did confirm that in this universe, Magneto and Quicksilver are indeed. I mean, it's not like there was any doubt.
Oh, that's cool. Regardless, I love that. Just the idea that they did it.
Uh-huh.
You did it, you! Okay, so yeah, meanwhile, I guess we should touch on Mystique's story here, because we kind of glazed over that.
Yeah, we're kind of we should probably, there's so much other good stuff in this movie.
I know. I think we're getting
to wrap things up.
I think we can probably break it down to, 3 more points if we do it right. Okay, so Mystique...
right away, let me just say about Jennifer Lawrence,
she's hot?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but...
I'm joking. She is a very good actress.
Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, she's a good actress. To tell you the truth, it kind of annoys me the overhype she got after Silver Linings Playbook, because it's oh my God, she fell down when she won an Oscar. And
she does that a lot.
Holy shit!
She keeps doing that.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sorry. It's everyone just fucking just their minds just exploded.
It's fine. It's a funny recurring gag, if you ask me, that she keeps falling down. She wears these lovely dresses.
Yeah.
You're getting all the awards, but you gotta dress smart for these things, lady.
But I'm just saying, people's minds just exploded with the whole oh, you're just she made that crack you're just standing because I fell down. And that's just oh my God, we love you, Jennifer Lawrence. You are amazing. You are America's sweetheart. And it's it just became the cult of Jennifer Lawrence. So, but that's a totally different thing. She's talented. This is probably my favorite thing I've seen her in, to tell you the truth.
Overall, I'll say I think this is her best performance. Mm-hmm. Now, she's done good stuff against Silver Linings Playbook, and at first, I don't watch The Hunger Games, but I hear good things.
She's good in The Hunger Games. I don't think it's spectacular, actually, by any means, but
I wouldn't mind hearing her do some voice work, to be honest with you, see if her performance can really translate into something animated, but regardless. What I like about her roles, in Silver Linings Playbook, but specifically Mystique,
right.
She brings a 3-dimensional humanity to these characters, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And here, before we just have she's just bringing humanity to Mystique, here she's really bringing really complex emotions to Mystique, because I love Mystique's whole story here, in that she she's the reason they went back, because of the rise and fall, like the almost Judas-like betrayal, almost in a way. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Like the betrayal of, like, she went to Magneto, like she was tempted by the devil, so to speak, and because of that, she's kind of hit a moral quandary. She hasn't killed anyone yet,
right?
But we know she's gonna become that killer.
Okay. By the way, just a point to make. I love how every time that she like gets into a confrontation with someone, it makes a very clear point to show that those people are not dead.
Yes, very, very important. Like, I think they maybe could have, I don't know, in my mind, like, when a guy's a little bit conscious, it's more convincing that he's alive, but, you know, the guy she's, like, holding on the throat, that one guy with her foot.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but regardless, it's fine. But, I don't want you to sound like I'm being harsh when I say regardless, it's fine. I do actually mean that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, her whole plot line, she's the reason they go back, because of what Magneto did to her, because he changed her, because he took a big, important part of Charles's life and divorced him from that, put him in the spiraling depression. Magneto has ruined Charles's life indirectly, even though they're buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, old friend. But because of that, because of this rise and fall, Mystique's going to do something that's going to ruin the whole timeline.
Right.
She's going to kill Boulevard Trask, and I like that. He's going to be the first kill. It's going to be an important kill. And again, in the comic, it was going to be Senator Kelly. But you know, very neat to see like the true loss of her full humanity when she becomes an evil mutant.
Yeah, yeah.
When essentially she's going to be the reason why mutants are majorly distrusted.
Oh yeah, and I just think it's so cool how she kind of how Jennifer Lawrence kind of channeled Rebecca Romijn in some of the scenes.
Oh yeah, when she's like in almost killer mode, she
right,
is Rebecca
exactly.
Romijn.
Yeah,
really impressive. But yeah, I like that transfer. Like, the first movie, she doesn't strike you that much of Rebecca Romijn. She's her own character, but here she is. Sure. You see her transforming into Rebecca Romijn, Mystique, essentially. It's really the heartless killer, or at least the very strategic, can do this on a dime type killer.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, agent of Magneto, or at least agent of herself at this point.
Right.
She has a mission. She is going to kill this guy to protect mutant kind. So she's the byproduct of Charles and Magneto. She wants to do this for the betterment of mutants like Charles, but she's willing to do it through harsher means like Magneto, and the byproduct of that is going to ruin the future. Mm-hmm. Which is very interesting.
I have two favorite scenes with Mystique. Let's see. What?
Now I was going to make a dumb joke. I was going to say, is it when she's walking away?
Oh, God.
I'm kidding.
So one is the hospital scene.
Oh, that's a great scene.
It just kind of sums up, like, the whole...
The play of the mutants.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's you want to explain the scene?
Yeah, essentially, after Mystique's been shot by Magneto,
mm-hmm.
a lot of complex emotions there. After she's been shot by Magneto, who was doing it instantly for the betterment of mutant kind. I'm gonna kill her, so we save our mutant kind, man. I don't care if I've done all this twisted stuff to her. I'm gonna save mutant kind.
Okay.
Essentially, she gets shot, and then really cool. He curves the bullet. Well, really, he manipulates the bullet. That's such a cool thing. You think that's gonna stop me? No. Mm-hmm. After that, she's in a hospital getting her leg patched up as she's, in full-blown Jennifer Lawrence look.
Yeah.
She has this great line, the exchange between the nurse and nurse, looking at her being shot on the TV as like Bigfoot footage almost.
Mm-hmm.
Not Bigfoot, I'm sorry. It's like, I love how they have old-style footage in this film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. Uh-huh.
Really good stuff, and it looks like the actual film. I kind of wish it was destroyed, though, because it kind of takes away the historical accuracy, but it's fine.
Right.
It's a different universe, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I know. Forgive me if I keep saying it. I'm finding hard words to describe this. Hard to find words to describe this. But essentially the nurse says, "Oh, that poor girl, like going through life looking like that." So can you imagine how that feels? Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just really well done.
Yeah, poor Mystique. You know, I have kind of a controversial point to make about the X-Men films, and especially this one.
Yeah.
I was at my movie theater, and I kind of noticed this film, along with just the X-Men films in general, they kind of epitomize what X-Men brought to people when it was first created. It it appeals to many different demographics.
Sure.
And in this movie, I noticed, not I'm really wary of this sort of thing or not, but I just kind of noticed more so in other films like Captain America, there was a lot of African American people going in this movie.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think it's because they, along with any minority, they identify with the X-Men struggle. And I think racism is the main thing epitomized by the X-Men.
And keep in mind, this is a time period like right after the Civil Rights Movement, so there's still a lot of racial tension going on in the country. Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to point out.
And like you didn't have that point in the '60s one with Darwin. Remember Darwin? Like he was the black adapting guy.
Didn't see it.
All right, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they kind of like an allegory with him, real briefly implied that been slaves. Is what someone says to him anyway, regardless of that. Hey, the nice little parallel between. So anyway, getting to our next one. So let's see. We addressed.
I just want to say my other second favorite moment.
Oh, good.
Just really quick, it's the moment where she breaks into Trask's office.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, right, isn't it cool?
I think of that more so as a Trask thing, but you're right. It absolutely is Mystique.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right though, because Dinklage is great.
I know Dinklage knocks it out of the ballpark because you get a sense that it's not him.
But
it feels like you kind of want it to be him. It's like he goes in there and I would hope Trask delivers lines like that because he makes it sound he's such a nice guy almost.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
That's a nice scarf. Trask seems kind of pleasant, and I don't know. Probably in a second. Yeah, it's a very nice scarf. You can go home. I think we get a sense that he's not like that because she's saying, "Are you okay, Mr. Trask?" I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's being too nice, but I don't know. I love that.
I really like the just the classic suspense where it's like, oh, the secretary's coming around and Mystique has to do some stuff.
Yeah, Mystique's gonna have to kick
her out the corner. Oh my god.
Yeah, Mystique's gonna have to get all footsie with her again.
Right. Oh god.
But
okay, and I feel like we definitely should mention the kind of more in-depth. This is actually my favorite scene in the movie, BlueDragonFive. This was even better than the Quicksilver scene, just because of how dramatic it was. I love the first scene where Magneto tries to kill Mystique, and then it just turns into this big, freaking public thing with all the cameras and everything.
Part of me was hoping that Magneto was going to crush the cameras. Still, I just kind of wish that knowledge didn't get at, except for the higher ups. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I didn't mind that. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about Magneto crushing the cameras. I don't think Magneto himself was thinking about crushing the cameras. But I just love the way that scene is just set up to, it really drives the main conflict home. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're right. Trask in this scene.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you mean Trask in this scene, don't you?
Well, yeah. I'm just saying the fact that the fact that Trask this is exactly what Trask wants. Essentially, is for the mutants to kind of make this big public display about why they're dangerous, and that's essentially what happens because Magneto turns the tables.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite scene of Boulevard Trask.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because he's again, before we've seen him, he's at the congressional hearing or something. He's basically just proposing the idea of the Sentinels, and they shoot him down.
Right.
He goes to the president, and I love just the isolated line of him saying, after he's showing the president this footage, he's saying, "Sir, that's only," after he delivers these statistics of all these mutants are out there, he says the line, "That's just 2 of them, President."
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's a valid argument, man. It's hard to argue with that logic, and that's what makes a great villain. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Also, what do you think about Kennedy being a mutant?
Oh god.
I wonder what his power was.
The power of persuasion?
Well, obviously it wasn't to deflect bullets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a dark joke.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh my.
But yeah, I like the one thing kind of bothered me about that. I love that idea. First of all, I just thought it was an interesting idea that he killed Kennedy. I was like, oh my god, that is so awesome. Mm-hmm. Dark, but it's awesome. But I was thinking, Kennedy's always the most popular president. He was a nice guy. From what he seemed, he seemed like a nice guy. He was big during the '60s. Maybe remember they have his doing a speech. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't seen it. In First Class, he does a speech.
No. Yeah.
But
I
Magneto.
assume there was because
Yeah.
you saw that in the trailer.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Essentially, he then Magneto says, "I was trying to save him." I'm wondering how that kind of works. That's my only gripe with it. Like, oh, well, Magneto
Yeah,
was able to stop
right.
the bullet, so I guess maybe he was at the wrong tower and it's too late.
I
Maybe?
hear you. Yeah.
Then they just saw him say, "Well, this guy's controlling magnetism," or maybe Magneto picked up the bullet too late, and then they saw he's controlling the bullet. Get him! Oh,
Yeah,
that's the only way I can figure it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. Yeah, the scene with Trask is awesome, and it's fantastic. Trying to think like what other scenes we should have. Obviously the ending, but
yeah, I mean, we should probably
we should
wrap this up in the next half hour.
Tell you
or
what,
so.
let's hit Wolverine and then the ending. The thing with all the stuff with Stryker.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
Okay,
Oh.
now I really love the Stryker idea here. First of all, I love the idea that Stryker is like the big cog in the plan that screws everything up.
Sure.
And he's gonna have a huge role in the future X-Men films.
Definitely.
Now, Stryker, I didn't realize this because it's a new actor, so
Mm-hmm.
I think he's supposed to be as old as Danny Houston, but they just couldn't get him back.
Right.
I don't recall seeing him in that little morph in Wolverine's head of what he looked like then and now.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, point is, so this guy, he was the guy Mystique beat up in the Vietnam base, and he's chasing after him. He's trying to get the mutant samples for DNA for the Sentinels. And, or they were capturing mutants. Which he does later on. So Trask is an appropriate mentor to continue things on from where we leave off in this film.
Mm-hmm.
But Stryker, he runs into Wolverine, gets tasered, and after Wolverine sees like little taser barbs in his skin, and also bit by Magneto, by the way, he redirects the taser barbs to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
Wolverine has like a flash of memory. I'm thinking, what the heck's going on? Wolverine, you okay, buddy? You think is it like just post-traumatic stress is hitting on you now? And then it kind of dawned on. I'm sorry, it didn't dawn on me. It dawned on him that, oh my God, that's Stryker. Young Stryker, and he's freaking out in his mind, and that hurts his connection with his mind connection from the future. And his claws are freaking out; they're going in and out. As unfortunately, accidentally, he wounds Kitty Pryde, which is not good. She's hurt and she's injured, she's bleeding out. Poor Kitty Pryde.
Right. Yeah.
Was she phased?
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a good. I just love. Again, this is what really is reminding me of Inception in this movie. Is just the idea that everything that's going on in the past is affecting the future.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's it's pulled off. So I mean, it's done really subtly. You know what I mean? Like that's really like the main thing is is Kitty Pryde getting wounded. But I love how they carry on the wound that she carries like throughout the whole movie. It's like a freaking Die Hard stepping on glass moment. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but yeah. So that happens, and Wolverine, you still there?
Yeah.
Making sure. So Wolverine, he's freaking out in the past, and again with I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Aside from when we were broadcasting, so. Kitty Pryde, again, it's not so much the problem that it doesn't really fit her power sets. They don't explain how she can do it. How she can send them back in time. I don't know backtracking, but it's a minor thing. Anyway, so Wolverine, like, if they just explain, because it's not her power set is to phase. Why can she do time travel? Like, explain it or just have it be Xavier, because it makes sense with Xavier, his mind powers.
Sure, right, I hear you. But
yeah, so the thing pays off big time with Stryker, because, Wolverine, he says, he has this great line saying, first of all, he wakes up with amnesia from the thing, because now I love the idea that when the connection's lost, that's just 70s Wolverine in a random situation. He's reacting like 70s Wolverine would. Say, who are you? What the heck's going on here? Where am I? He says, listen to me. You know me. You came to me. You said you were from the future. And all that stuff, because Wolverine always has memory problems. That's their way of kind of hinting that these two guys are going to be pals in the future over this stuff.
Yeah, right.
And then he snaps out and says, okay, I'm back. I got it. He says, I just remembered a guy's going to bring me a lot of pain in the future.
Oh, God.
Well, that was such a great line. The way it pays off in the end, in which Wolverine, we're getting into the last part right here, so I'm going to transition in here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Wolverine, is, he's helping to fight off Magneto. Magneto, who has lifted a giant stadium.
Okay, yeah, let's
just get into
that.
the stadium, and I'll bring in Stryker later. Let's just get in the stadium.
First of all, I think Magneto. This movie is like easily the coolest display of Magneto's powers. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I love the fact that he's smart enough to know. Okay, these. First of all, I love the idea Sentinels are made of like a polycarbonate of metal. So it's like it's a fake metal of sorts.
Right,
it's
right.
Strong metal. I love that.
I'll tell you the one thing that bothered me about the train thing, though.
Oh, but the train thing's so cool. He puts the metal from the tracks.
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't necessarily buy that the train wouldn't just derail itself.
I think the rails are far enough back, but it's a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, I got that he was pulling off the rails after the train would get over them, but I don't know. Still, physically, it's
Can I just say, I love the mutant detector. I love that little iPhone looking thing.
I'm right there. Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I love
that. Not iPhone, like the little, I don't know, like one of those.
No, you're absolutely right. It looks like a product straight out of Apple.
No, I love that little thing. I love how Trask has it handy. He says there's a mutant among us.
Oh yeah. Like
Mystique
carries it around with them. Like.
I love how Trask treats mutants like animals too. He says, don't shoot her, don't kill her.
Don't kill it. Don't kill it.
I love that.
He literally refers to it as it. I think.
Yeah, don't kill it. Don't kill it. But no, he just sees them less as human. I love his arc too. By the end of it, he cancels the Sentinel program.
Yeah, you're right. He does have a great arc in this.
Yeah. Anyway, so Magneto, he's got a big old plan. He's going to hijack the Sentinels, make a big public display, because that's what Magneto does. So, well, how are we going to make a display? Bring a Coliseum.
Okay, and first of all, like, how freaking great is that gag where he flies down? And, I think it's like the janitor or something. He's just like startled.
Can I help you with something, buddy?
Can I help you?
Oh, yeah.
Again, this movie, like, perfectly knew when to put the humor in. Like, I feel like this is a better, well-rounded mix of, like, serious, really heavy stuff, good action, and humor than anything we've seen from Marvel.
Well, the Wolverine. Well, I know you haven't seen it, but I'm just saying.
I mean, when I say Marvel, I mean Marvel Studios.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah.
But, okay, so...
actually, one thing about Magneto I want to bring up about this one, it's kind of a problem. Not a problem, I'm just saying to bring up. Technically, he doesn't... Aside from showmanship, he does not need to be wearing the costume or the helmet.
Well, yeah, but I think it's all about showmanship.
Mainly, yeah, it is. That's the reason it's fine. I'm just saying when you think about it, because he knows Charles is not going to have his powers.
Mm-hmm, right.
No, Charles, he chooses to have his powers when they're separated.
Right.
So, like, during the time separated, he activates Cerebro, he finds Mystique, all that stuff. We glazed over. But, then Magneto... So, the point is, like, Magneto technically wouldn't need the helmet, but in the future he doesn't use the helmet because who am I hiding from? I have my thoughts from. But now it's just to make a public statement, so it's fine. But also, I hope he didn't kill that chalk grinding guy.
Yeah.
I like that guy. I hope he didn't kill him. I hope he just lifted the stadium and just left him there.
Right. I hear you.
Anyway, so he lifts the stadium. He brings it a great shot, money shot. Yay!
Of course.
Freaking drops it on the White House, I believe.
Oh, how great is that, man? I love that setup. It's so
Then
cool.
he brings the little metal bunker that Nixon... It's a really swanky bunker, too.
I love that. My mind was just going crazy there. I was like, oh my god.
I knew he was going to do that, too, by the way. I've seen Superman do that. I knew Magneto was going to do that.
I haven't seen anything like that, so it was just
I've seen Superman do that in Superman Doomsday. He brought Luthor's metal bunker or something. Anyway, so by the way, it's a really swanky bunker.
Yeah, it is.
Nixon has. I would like to visit that place. I think it has TVs too. It looks really nice.
Oh,
I love the
nice
gag.
leather seating and everything. Looks like isn't there like a little personal bar in there?
Yeah. Also, by the way, Beast watching the 3 channels,
right,
and including Star Trek, his little information gathering room.
Yeah.
Anyway, so See, Magneto, he takes the bunker out, which is a really nice set, by the way. In addition to that, I love how closed in it feels, and then the fact that Boulevard Trask, I love the scene. Trask detects a mutant, says, "There's a mutant in here." Says, "What the heck?" And everyone draws their guns or whatever. And when someone draws their gun for what they think is the president, no, he just wants Trask, and they all freak out. And then the room gets pitch black. Then lifted out of the room, and then I love how Mystique has come around after Charles is. And I forget. Do you remember? Does Mystique know Charles is hurt during this, or no?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Because I can't recall. It'd be more powerful if that's the case, because now is her chance to make up for her past sins.
Right. I hear you. Yeah.
But regardless, so yeah, Charles is trying to. I love how Magneto doesn't intentionally hurt Charles either. It's just when the thing comes down and Charles gets trapped under the thing. I love the tension too. Like Wolverine's looking for a guy to tackle. It's Mystique.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, no, I remember what happened. So yeah, she knows Charles is there because she's gonna kill Trask, and then Magneto drops a stadium and things go all the heck.
Right.
And like Charles is trying to reason with her, and basically says it's like her decision, I think. At some point. Anyway, so yeah, then Magneto's gonna. I love how he turns the cameras on and says, "I am a mutant. You are right to be afraid of us. Look at our power. You are to fear us. You are the less superior of beings," and so forth.
And to me, I was just like, "Oh God, man, way to completely mess up the whole main plan of this movie."
Yep, and I'm thinking, like, Magneto essentially is the Joker in this film. It's like, what if you trusted the Joker for 1 minute? And then, essentially, that's what's going to happen with the next Batman film, by the way. Not live action, animated film. He's going to
okay.
That's the whole premise of it. Joker screws up a government-funded plan.
Really? Okay, that's
it's like they send in Task Force S to essentially a strike team of supervillains, and then he screws up the plan. He basically makes it like a survival thing to get out of Arkham Asylum. Anyway, so yeah, Magneto he's really awesome, and then he's about to get Nixon. The moment I loved, I kind of wish it went the way I'm about to say. I wish it went. Nixon goes out there, and we find out it's Mystique, but I think it would have been so funny if it was the actual Nixon. If Nixon went out there and he's basically, "Hey Magneto, if you're gonna kill someone, you want to kill me." It's like, I'm not going down without a fight, essentially, and I think it would have been so funny. If Nixon's popularity, forgive me for not being a forgive me for not being a history buff, but I forget like how long he was popular for. Like if he,
I don't think he was ever that popular because he was very polarizing with the with Vietnam and of course with frickin' Watergate. But I don't really know if there was a period in time where he was like beloved.
He wasn't elected for 2 things, was he?
2 terms?
He wasn't, was he? That's the thing. Like, I don't know where in the timeline if he was.
I think he was. I could be wrong.
Look, it'd be funny. Again, history's confusing, but it would be funny if somehow Nixon would be like nominated for that second term because he stood up to Magneto.
No, I agree. That would be great.
But regardless, it's fine. The point is, Mystique goes there and she confronts Magneto, and I was so scared by this. I thought that she killed Magneto for a second.
Oh God, right.
She shot him through the neck, and then
I totally agree. Yeah.
Then he got hit in the head, and it sounded like a crack. And I was thinking, oh my God, she killed Magneto. And he's alive, but he should be dead. I mean, a hole through the neck and getting hit upside the head. And
yeah.
But the helmet gets knocked off, and
Did you mention the fact that Magneto is basically just like, "Fuck you, Wolverine! You're not in this finale."
Oh yeah, this is an homage to a very famous thing from the comics, Steve.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Now, while they didn't, actually, because it's in the past, is the main reason. In the comics, the most historic thing ever, and I believe it, the night of this thing, I got into such a debate with my friend over how he did this in the comics. We were just talking about because they mentioned like he's not going to have the adamantium in this movie.
Yeah, right.
We were talking about bone claws and like how he got to the bone claw state and so forth. And we're talking about essentially in the comics, in the comics he lost his metal skeleton because of this, because Magneto ripped it from his body.
Ooh.
And they homage that in here.
God.
Remember when the metal spikes like going through Wolverine, or the metal pipe or something's like going all through his body? That's an homage to it.
Okay.
So essentially, it's kind of a reverse of that. He's adding metal to his body instead of taking it away.
Okay.
So
I see.
But it was essentially he was in a position like that, of like being writhing in the ground in pain.
Oh my God. Oh, that sounds ridiculous. Ooh.
Yeah, I still argue. They don't explain. They're never going to, I suspect. But it'd have been so cool if the way he got his metal back in. Again, I've kind of told you, but at some point he's going to lose his claws.
Right.
The metal in his claws. But I was expecting in this film him to get it back because he has it in the future.
Yeah.
I was expecting him, like Magneto, just to stretch the metal of his skeleton over his claws a little.
Oh yeah, right.
That's my only solution. I don't see him fusing it on his claws at all, but it's fine now. Regardless, so anyway, so yeah, Wolverine's taking that picture and he's drowning. I actually was worried about this when Wolverine's being drowned. You know why?
The only reason I wasn't was because it's already been confirmed that there's going to be another Wolverine movie.
Well, no, it's time travel. They could have just fixed it regardless. I mean, like for a moment, him dying within the, because he does die in the comic. Like the Sentinel blast him like in the opening pages.
Oh, okay.
Like he's guiding Kitty Pryde through the future and then gets blasted or something.
So it's like Drew Barrymore in Scream. It's like she just gets the most famous character just gets instantly killed off. He
does get killed off quickly. I don't know how quickly, but yeah, he does get killed off.
Okay.
Anyway, so the thing is like Wolverine's drowning. Now let me run you the gambit of the healing factor.
Oh God.
Real quick. Okay, so the way healing factors work in Marvel is like this. Hulk's healing factor is most superior because he's really angry and he heals faster because he's angry. So Hulk has the quickest healing factor, which by proxy makes him the most powerful.
Right.
Deadpool has the second most powerful. Takes him a little time, but really very minimal time to heal. But I mean, he'll heal fast.
Okay.
And technically, Deadpool can never die because Thanos cursed him with life. But that's another story. Wolverine has the next best healing factor because the only reason it'll take him a little while longer than Deadpool to heal is because he has a metal skeleton in his body. It's kind of like something blocking the healing.
Right. Yeah.
But that also makes him unkillable because you can never cut through the skeleton to cut his head off. Unless you have an adamantium sword. But the main thing is to kill someone with a healing factor. One of the logical ways would be to drown them. That's debatable whether drowning someone with a healing factor will kill them because no air. Now, here's the theory. A theory like how someone would survive that, which they kind of confirmed in this film because the only way he could have survived. Because some people say, I'll just drown you, and that's how you kill Wolverine if you don't cut his head off. You keep him in water. I assume the way it works is like if you have a healing factor and you're drowned, the way you survive is that you basically go into stasis like Superman did when he died.
Right.
You go into stasis, and basically the more graphic way it would go is like you die, your lungs grow back, you have a breath, dead. That's the way until you like somehow surface to the air. I guess in this case with Wolverine, it's like you go into stasis until you are on land again. Until you actually have air to breathe. Although it's just going to be in stasis. Right. Which is the way they do it in this film, which I was pleased to see. They gave a confirmed answer, it's a cool answer.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, Magneto shot, Day saved, Mystique on the run for a future film, perhaps. Beast has a cool bit where he injects himself with his treatment, so the Sentinel stops attacking him, and Magneto just disassembles it on the spot.
Right.
It has this really cool line too. It says, "Do what you are meant to do." The cool thing Magneto did here, and he did this in the Wolverine cartoons and everything else. He redirected the Sentinel's purpose. Like he rewires the Sentinels to attack humans, which is scary.
Sure. Yeah.
Which essentially triggers the war because the whole idea of the future.
Definitely.
In the future, these things go haywire and they kill humans. And then
right. They go all Bender and they want to kill all the humans.
Kill all humans.
Kill all the humans. Kill all the humans.
Bender's the greatest. Kill all humans. But, anyway, so basically the day is saved. Yay! And then unfortunately things aren't patched up the way we like them to be with Mystique. She's on the run. But then the future's saved. We'll get to Wolverine and Stryker in a second, but now we're in what debatably is either present day or is in the future because I don't know because Wolverine has white in his hair. and he has
That's
gray.
true.
He has
Right.
grayish hair, and there's like holographic projection stuff in the books.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
Huh.
we don't see the
Interesting.
outside, so we can never know
True.
for sure.
True. Okay.
It looks like present
This whole
except for
game
those
is just
touches.
basically like, hey, it's Cameo Land.
What did you think? Do you think future or do you think present?
I I don't know. I wasn't thinking too hard about it either way, but I
I'm saying
think
because present was in my mind this whole film. That's why I was wondering.
right, right. Well, I mean, if you say there's some stuff from the comics that was in the future, then I'd say that's a pretty good argument for future. But I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm gonna say that I'm thinking it's more like like the present is the future. Like it's maybe just 5 years in the future in this movie,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
it.
Sure. Sure.
Which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless, you're right, Cameo Fest.
Yeah. Let's just go over them all.
Okay, I know you're going to bring this up, and everyone's going to bring this up. Rogue does, in fact, in homage to Wolverine dying quickly.
Uh-huh.
He dies in the beginning of this film. Remember, she's the mutant that's like dusting off the X logo,
Right. Right.
and she gets killed. She has the white in her hair.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
And in here, now the reason she doesn't have any screen time, she only has like 20 seconds of screen time, is she's talking to Bobby, Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is now that she's alive, I guess the relationship continued between those two
Right.
in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she only gets 20 seconds screen. She's like, "Oh, hey, Bobby, let's go." Essentially, that's it. And her scenes were cut. That's the reason she has so little screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the other, so Iceman's there in the past, obviously.
Of course, Hank McCoy, freaking Kelsey Grammer.
Oh yeah, that was
Awesome.
great. And he just says, "Hello, Logan."
Doesn't he say something like, "Oh, you're up rather late today"?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Or you're getting a rather late start.
I think late start. Yeah, it must be it. He says that. That's great. Just seeing him walking there, like, "Hey, thanks."
Kelsey Grammer, yeah.
Yeah, they got him
I don't
back.
think it was reported at all if he was going to be in the movie.
No.
I could be wrong. No?
No, he
Okay,
was surprised.
okay.
So was James Marsden.
Yeah, James Marsden was the big one.
Okay,
too.
so here's the big cameo. The two big cameos that no one expected these two coming up. And remind me, is she dressed in red? I'm convinced she's dressed in red.
Yeah, she
Okay,
is.
that's a huge nod to the
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anyway, so I don't know. I'll get in a second. We see Jean Grey, of course, Wolverine. You saw the scene in this film, Tiki, of when he's convincing Charles to give Cerebro another shot.
Mm-hmm.
We see flashes from Wolverine's mind. You notice stuff from the Wolverines in that movie, in that little flash from all this terrible stuff that happened to him.
Okay, yeah.
And with that came the death of Jean Grey. We know he's deeply attached to Jean Grey. He says, "Jean,
Sure.
you're alive."
Mm-hmm.
And then Cyclops stops and says, "Hey, hold it,
Whoa!
Logan, what's up?"
Okay.
And he's wearing a new visor, which is cool.
Yeah. I was the one jackass in the theater to literally just be like, when Cyclops showed up, and I looked like such a fucking idiot, man. Because literally no one else said a word. Oh god. But whatever. I was happy to see Cyclops. I don't care. Haters gonna hate.
I think he says like, "Nice to see you, Cyker. Nice to see you, Summers."
Mm-hmm.
Which was nice. And then the thing about her is, I'm wondering, with the whole time stream being fixed, you don't know what sticks and what's not. We're gonna get to that in a second, Stryker.
Sure.
But,
Oh god.
like the question is, like, did she come back to life in between this little time travel excursion, or was it just because the time stream was fixed?
I got that the time travel thing just kind of gave everything a new slate. I don't necessarily think she came back.
Well, the gag is in the comic she dies a lot.
Yeah.
She does. She
right.
dies, and then she comes back. So everyone kind of knows.
And
she's
like
coming
you
back.
said, she does have the red hair and the red outfit, so.
Yeah.
But
Nice homage to it.
Oh yeah.
And then I love how they kind of bring it full circle between Wolverine and Charles. Like these guys are pals, and they're bonding over what they bond over in the first place. Because Wolverine only joined the X-Men to talk to Xavier and get his memories back.
Mm-hmm.
And in the grand scheme of things, this would be like, if this is in fact, because regardless of the Wolverine 2, because that's going to be like a connection to this. It's just going to be his adventure, regardless.
Right.
This, for all intents and purposes, will be his like send off in the X-Men universe. So at least it's kind of like a rises finale, if you will, to Wolverine, just him, like an ultimate goodbye, so to speak, for him and the X-Men. More so saying the adventure's going to continue, saying, "Hey Charles, why don't you fill me in for old time's sake?" You know, it's a nice little bit to close out Wolverine's thing, if that is in fact his last appearance.
Oh,
you know, which is nice.
Man, I just want frickin' more Logan and Scott rivalry after this movie. Because it's like, oh god, they teased it, and now it's like, I'd be so sad if we got nothing more after that.
I just want to see a show where those two guys share an apartment. And also, I want them to bring Wolverine's...
Jean Grey is their roommate, and they're constantly fighting over her affection.
No, here's the thing. I want to see a double date. Because... Because Cyclops and Jean Grey, but also in Wolverine, you see Wolverine's girlfriend.
Right, isn't her name Yukio?
No, it's Mariko.
Oh, freaking A! My friend said it was Yukio.
No, that's his friend. His friend's like the samurai buddy of his.
Oh, okay.
That's the girl with the sword. No, his girlfriend is the main girl in the movie. That's
okay.
Mariko.
I hear you.
Unfortunately,
she's... Yukio, I'm sorry, I just have to point this out. Yukio sounds way too similar to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, Wolverine has another girl with a similar name in his life. It's a mixture of the two names, actually, believe it or not. Yuriko.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, it'd be funny to see those two, because unfortunately, the tragedy of Wolverine is this girl. I love Mariko, and if you ever watch that movie, Tiki, you're gonna fall in love with her because she's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the love of Wolverine's life, and in the comics, she meets a very unfortunate end.
Okay.
So a lot of tragedy with that. But yeah, still buddies. Anyway, so yeah, back to okay. So we got that, and we got two endings here. We got our post credits, and before post credits, we got we got ambiguous ending that kind of divides people. A lot of people don't like this ending.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't really blame them, but let's talk about it. Okay, so our ending is
this. I would, to tell you the truth, okay, I'm sorry, go on and describe it, and I'll say what I think.
So we pick up with 70s Wolverine because, well, if this Wolverine's around, that means he didn't drown.
Obviously.
So, well, who fished him out? How did he get out of there? If he didn't just, like, breathe, like, dead to the surface, how'd he get up there? He was fished out by, if not crab fishermen, then somebody, the Coast Guard or something.
Right.
Military, actually, it's military.
Yeah.
And we find out the leader of this military outfit is Stryker, William Stryker. He's saying, and I would have loved it if they ended on that note, to be honest with you. I agree with you.
I totally agree with you. Totally.
They could have just ended it like kind of the ultimate tragedy, like, oh no, Wolverine.
Right. But instead, they have to throw in like Mystique. I totally agree. I think throwing in Mystique was. It convoluted it more than it needed to be. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a lame reference to the first movie.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Look, I'm not going to deny you the fact that the eye thing's cool. Even they do that in the trash scene. Remember, he has like the eyes appear for a second.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that's a cool thing. But this would have been like the ultimate, like not risky. It would have been the ultimate kind of downer to end on. Like, Wolverine is our hero, but Wolverine's always going to have some tragedy following him, and his price for helping out save the day is that he's going to have to be subjected to this ultimately at the end of the day. Sure.
But instead, now it's like we just don't know what the hell's going on. Like, it's just totally just like, what? What is Mystique doing? Why is she posing as Stryker?
Also, I want to point this out. Scenes cut in the trailers. You might want to go back and watch those trailers now that you've seen the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently, a lot of footage in those trailers were cut from the movie.
Right.
Two things, mainly. One is with Mystique, which kind of I feel if that scene were in here, we might buy that she's saving Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Like, even more pointless. Why is she in there if you're going to cut that scene?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't even met the girl in the past.
Oh, God. I hear you.
Because the scene in the trailer is basically him saying to her, you're a horrible woman. I'm not going to say the actual word, but he's basically saying, you're a world-class mean lady. And she says, oh, don't hold back.
Oh.
So, essentially, that's the only time they meet in that trailer.
Okay.
Goes nowhere. Ending pointless. I'm sorry. Ending pointless. Then the other thing is there was a cute scene apparently, which I suspect would have been at Quicksilver's house.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to a little girl and he says, "I'm the Wolverine." So I'm assuming it was a little girl, so I'm assuming it's Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, yeah, yeah.
Well, whoever the little girl was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, that's our first ending. And on that note, everyone unanimously complains, which I can't blame them.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm actually. It's not unanimous because I've heard some critics who actually did like the open-endedness of it. But I mean, it's not like everyone hating on the Spider-Man 2 ending.
Well, what do you mean, Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh,
2.
right. It's the ending's fine. It's just spoiled and stuff.
Well, what I mean is, like, with the Spider-Man indie, they kind of like, oh, this major thing happens, and yeah, it's a big tragedy, and then Paul Giamatti shows up, and woohoo, action scene, the end.
Okay, good point. But
it's really kind of just the tone shift that people have a problem with.
Okay, actually, I should point this out too. There's a major plot. This is the major plot point. The plot hole of the film, or as I should call it, time hole.
Oh God.
Okay, major time hole is in this scene right here. The biggest time hole that really needs some finagling to get right.
Right.
Okay, big problem here. So this is the moment that really changes the course of history here, along with the whole movie. Along with the saving of Boulevard Trash, this changes everything. Because, okay, Wolverine, look, if he is saved, let's just say if it is Trask, okay? No, sorry, not Trask. I mean, let's just say if it is Stryker.
Yeah.
Initially, if it was Stryker, in Origins, he meets Sabretooth and Wolverine in the Vietnam jail, which is a big problem itself. Essentially, they were in Vietnam. So how can they be in Vietnam if Wolverine's here doing stuff?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
It could be debated. Now, initially, I thought it could be just debated one of two things. One, Wolverine woke up in the middle of his own Wolverine adventure, which could be like in between. The previous, like just Sabretooth and him met up somewhere, and they say, okay, well, I'll meet you later on. This time we're gonna go and listen to the Vietnam War. Yeah. And Wolverine just got distracted with this. Option B. Option B is that they get involved after. Potentially they were to get involved at some point in the. No, I'm sorry. They were already involved in the Vietnam thing somehow. No, actually, no, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. It's either that, or the other thing is that they're going to meet up. No, actually, that's the only way it works. It's that if it was Stryker, that's the only way it could work. Is like somehow they meet up at Vietnam, or I'm sorry, I remember it was. It's either that or the fact that Wolverine was going to do that, but then he was distracted with all this.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So that never happened. That's another reason Sabretooth is pissed off at him. Okay. And that's just that. I'm saying that action in itself screwed up the time stream. So either it could still work, or it's just going to strip the time stream inadvertently.
Yeah, I hear you.
So regardless, it's going to do stuff. But the thing is, the new continuity would have been like then Stryker would have found him here, and that's how he gets there. And Sabretooth just runs into him years later, which opens the possibility of getting a Liv Schreiber, Liv Schreiber actual Sabretooth in the future instead of the screwed up one we get in X-Men 1.
Right.
Which could have been cool, which is an opening, but then they did this. So. Because the thing is, Stryker literally approaches them in Vietnam to recruit them. So again, that's another thing it doesn't say, because he looks younger in this thing, but I don't know. Or if it's I don't know if it's Mystique.
Yeah.
Regardless, the point is things are going to be changed in the X-Men universe because of what happened. Wolverine's changes here.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's why it looks like we have kind of a better future, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. For sure.
One could hope that. And one could hope that, and where maybe Mystique gets into a misadventure that somehow delivers him to Stryker. I don't know. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think either way, we're definitely going to get into that. Well, I mean, if Jackman does in fact come back for Apocalypse, which we don't know, but but I could see if Jackman is back for Apocalypse, I could see that being like the big storyline. Like, how does he get from Mystique's hands to Stryker's hands?
Yeah, it would be something to wrap up. But let me also. Something that could have been cool. I'm not mad they didn't put it in here, but it would have been kind of neat if like Wolverine like almost killed him.
Oh, it's killed Stryker?
Yeah, if like during his freak out, he was like instinctually about to attack Stryker, then he lost his memory or something. Right.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Anyway, so now let's get to our post-credit scene. That'll pretty much wrap us up.
As an X-Men fan, I was like, what's going on? I mean, I'm sorry, as a non-comic fan, I was like, what's going on?
I'll tell you one thing, Tiki. I love the feeling when I watch that moment.
Okay.
At times, I will get this way during Marvel films at the end. I love, it's like the music kind of sums up the feeling. You get this build in the music, that's how I feel. Specifically with moments like the ending of, I'm not going to tell you what they are, but the ending of Captain America 2, or the post-credit scenes to, like that, or at least Thor stuff, you know, like, I'm sorry, just mainly the ending of Captain America and stuff, you know, like, just wrap it. The stuff, like the post-credit scenes, like just the big reveal, like I have this moment of, mainly the Avengers, like you have that moment like, oh my god. I was like, I heard the chanting, and I saw the pyramids moving, and I saw the figure, and I saw the gray skin, I was thinking, my god, this is him. I know him. I was thinking, I know this guy. It can't be Magneto, it's in the past, it's in ancient Egypt.
Right.
And then it just dawned on me, and then the music's getting louder and louder, and then I'm hearing like they're chanting. I forget what the term is, like, oh my, it's something in ancient Arabic or something.
Yeah.
And basically, the chant, I kind of recognize the chant because this is also how they ended Wolverine and the X-Men. It ends on the same note.
Oh, okay, cool. Huh.
Unfortunately, again, no season 2, so it was never explored.
Yeah.
It ended it on the same note that now.
Oh God.
Except it's kind of funny. It's a reverse of this in a way because this is in the past.
Sure.
This is in our First Class verse, but in the cartoon, that was the new alternate future that happened. This guy rose to power.
Mm-hmm.
After they got rid of the Sentinel problem, this guy rose to power.
Okay.
But in this, so basically, we hear this chanting and chanting. Then we see the side, and I see the gray skin, I see the blue lips, and I'm like, oh my god, apocalypse.
Yeah.
Then the film ended, and they kind of dawned on me. I felt so stupid. It's like, yeah, the next movie's Age of Apocalypse. What do you expect, moron?
I mean, yeah, I knew it was Apocalypse just based on that, so it's like that's the only reason I knew.
I didn't know.
I'm a comic fan,
However, I didn't know it was going to be set in the First Class universe. That's going to be interesting. I thought it was going to be like set in present day, so I was a little more excited for that.
Yeah.
But regardless, it could be interesting because this is going to be our big threat. So remember, actually, that flashback at the end of the credits.
Oh.
That's 5,000 years in the past, Tiki.
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally picked up on that. Yeah.
It's in ancient Egypt.
Right.
So yeah, the thing is, just to give you a brief, I know very little about this guy myself, but to give you what I know about this guy. The very little I know about this guy, essentially, he is like he has more of an ego on him than Magneto.
Oh my.
This guy, essentially, he was a mutant from 5,000 years ago. He was one of the originals.
Okay.
If not the original.
Yeah, I definitely picked up on that from the teaser, yeah.
If not the original, this guy was the original. Essentially, he was cast out because of his looks. Just his looks, not his powers. And, like, even Apocalypse, essentially, he's the god of mutants.
Okay.
He's the equivalent to Thanos and Darkseid. Like, if the X-Men is their own universe, if that were the case, this guy would be that. He'd be he's the Thanos. This is like a Thanos type reveal.
It's its own separate cinematic universe, so.
Yeah, so pretty much, this guy, he's big trouble. Like he has his own 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Seriously, he calls them that.
Right.
And he's very bad news. He thinks of himself as a god, and he's like at the dawn of the mutant age. Essentially, is this guy on a grand scale. So he's very dangerous.
Okay.
So big heavy hitter. This guy.
All right, well, we'll see where it goes. Oh, man. I don't know, man. So I guess the one thing to just wrap up with is just the final thoughts.
You go first.
Well, like I said, I still stick by my opinion. This is my personal favorite comic book movie ever. I want to make the distinction. It's like, I'm not saying, like, oh, it is technically the best. No, I always make the distinction when... between best and favorite. For me, personally, this just had everything I was looking for in a comic book movie. And it had everything I was looking for in a great movie in general. It had, like, amazing performances, a great cerebral storyline. I mean, this is why I vastly prefer, like, movies with storylines like this compared to a movie like The Avengers, where it's just like, oh, a guy tries to take over the world. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much more at stake here. There's so much more like human emotion in this movie. I'm not trying to slam The Avengers. I'm really not, because it is a great movie. You know, it's one of the all-time best comic book movies, of course. But oh man, there's just so much in this movie, from just the sheer spectacle of all the Magneto stuff, the Quicksilver stuff, the way the comedy in general was mixed in, the way that every single last little character got his proper due and got, you know, if not a good amount of screen time, at least a moment to shine. And it just all came together for me, man. I mean, I agree. The main one problem I had with it was the Mystique ending. I totally am right there with you. I wish they would have just left it as Stryker and not had the Mystique thing. But other than that, I thought this movie was just, it just floored me. I loved it. All right. Your final thoughts?
Well, final thoughts. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You got a lot of great character moments. I love the quiet moments, too.
Oh, yeah.
And quiet moments like Mystique turning into Trask to get a file.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like, just the true struggle of the mutants here. I mean, we've gotten that in the past, but I think we get it more so here, and a little bit in First Class than ever before with the X-Men films.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, here they truly treat it like the mutants as like a valid issue here.
Sure.
But I always think that whenever I approach the X-Men, I'm kind of thinking, you know, how can people, we as people, we as humans, in terms of the X-Men universe, we haven't learned anything. We take people with these gifts, with these different abilities, and what do? We treat them like, not slaves, but we treat them like lesser. We don't treat them like people. We don't see humanity in these things just because they have powers. Like, what if it happened to us? That's the main question the X-Men brings up.
Oh, yeah.
And we all have the potential to do extraordinary things.
Again, like greatly illustrated by the hospital scene.
Exactly, yeah. We can all... We can all do extraordinary things in our own right. I mean, Trask himself does an extraordinary thing with these robots. I mean, they're very impressive, to say the least. We see how dangerous a human creation can be from machinery in terms.
Oh yeah.
That's just human ingenuity doing something really destructive. And essentially, the thing with the X-Men altogether is that it's marketed on genocide.
Basically, you're right.
You're wiping out a race of people, Trask. And I want to point this out. Actually, this might be a flaw of the film in the grand scheme of things. I'm thinking about it now.
Mm-hmm.
If Trask never brought up the notion of trapping mutants. He just basically said wipe them out, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
With the exception of Mystique, because use her for adaptability. Essentially, he's saying let's wipe them out. And Nixon is the most appropriate president to do that sort of thing with, but still, wiping out a whole race of beings that are at least human. They've blended with humanity, and even like the one guy. One Senate guy, he says, well, I mean, he says like that Cuban Missile thing was never confirmed. Like, they've blended in with people, they haven't caused a problem yet. So he's kind of on the mutant side inadvertently. He just doesn't care. And that's kind of the way we should be. We shouldn't care if they're mutants as long as they're not the bad ones who are trying to kill us. And
sure. Oh yeah.
It's like,
but again, I do think that point that Trask made, about how he points out all the destructive crap that Magneto and Mystique are doing, he's like, that's two of them. Again, it's like, that's what's so fascinating about this movie, is that it's like, yeah, there's like, I don't know, it's like, I'm not saying I support genocide, of course, but I'm saying, like, let's say in real life, BlueDragonFive, if real life, this stuff happened, like, there was like people with blue skin on the news and stuff, we would be kind of freaked out.
Then again,
you know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of a game changer.
It would be off-putting, you're right, but you gotta kind of think in mind, you gotta approach these guys delicately, because if you overreact, things will just get worse. The thing is, because people overreact to mutants, I'm saying the first time we discovered there are mutants, yeah, I'll admit, yeah, there are missteps there, definitely. So maybe overall, the situation cannot be fixed, but overall, think about it. We overreact. Humans overreact. if they overreact to these mutants and these overreact, say, "Oh my God, I'm so afraid of you just because you're different than me." Because you're different than me, mutants will get an ego, whether that's a negative ego or a positive ego.
Right.
Like they think, like, "Oh my God, I'm a monster. I gotta run away. Like I don't deserve to live. What kind of life am I leading?" Some mutants will either panic and freak out, or really sympathize with them in that case, or they'll get an ego saying, "People don't like me. Well, I'll give them a reason not to like me."
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So you got a big double-edged sword. You treat people the way you want to be treated. That's a simple message of the X-Men. There are good mutants and there are bad mutants, just like there are good people and there are bad people.
Oh, yeah.
They are different, yes. They are different. Some of them extraordinary. And these are gifts that we could maybe harness if we weren't so pig-headed about some of this stuff.
Right.
Even the mutants that are pig-headed, we got to be nice to them. But you see what I'm saying? But there is a good message behind this film, more so, because they really do bring up that issue. And you are right. There is a double-edged sword there. That the Trask, he has a legitimate point. There are dangerous mutants out there, and we do need to have precautions. There's a whole season of Justice League dedicated to, like, what if the Justice League went rogue? Same premise.
Mm-hmm.
And Magneto mentioned X3. It was really a prevalent point. Magneto said the humans will strike first, and the humans did strike first because they prepared the cure and weapons.
Yeah, and they created the Sentinel, so.
Well, I'm saying pre this movie.
Okay, yeah, right.
Pre this movie, they created the cure, which and they put in guns, which just signals. Look, I told you the mutants would basically it's plastic weaponry. I told you they strike first. They were preparing this. Yeah. I told you they were preparing this. So there's a valid point on both sides. But just the peace would be the optimal way to go here. If we show these mutants, we're accepting you guys, and treat us the way you want to be treated. The world would be a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at Beast. Beast is a hardcore mutant. Yet we love the guy.
Oh, of course.
How can we not?
That's a great thing about Hank McCoy's character. You know what I mean? Is that he's gotten himself into a position of power in the in the human society, and he looks like that. So it's just it kind of speaks volumes about it's kind of like a whole sort of allegory about just about overcoming adversity and racism and stuff. And you're right.
Remember, Beast. Unfortunately, in this film, he has a very terrible thing happen to him. His worst fears are realized for a moment. Mm-hmm. He becomes an allegory for the danger of mutants.
Right.
He turns into into the Beast, and then he attacks, and he gets strung up in public like Quasimodo or something.
Oh God, yeah. And again, I can't that scene was so emotionally effective for me. But anyway, we're veering on 3 hours for this, so we should probably wrap it up.
Overall, great film. If I had to rank it with this year's movies, I think technically it's better than Amazing Spider-Man. Though Spider-Man has great moments, I think Cap's the best movie this year so far. But again, overall, fun film. If I had to rank it among the X-Men films, I rank it definitely up there. If not,
you would rank it first.
I don't know. I have to think about it. It might be first.
Mm-hmm.
If not first, then it's either first or second. Then the Wolverine will be on there somehow.
Okay, I can see an argument for X2, but I mean this. Oh my God! Like I said, it just combined everything that was awesome about the entire X-Men franchise into one movie. I mean, God.
I'm looking more convincing for that first thing because they are kind of getting the whole message of the X-Men in this film really well, and there's a lot of cool parts. And again, Peter Dinklage's trash really awesome. I might rank it number 1. So
okay.
Great. If not 1, then 2. It's really hard for me to pick between those 3.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Should we mention the kind of some unfortunate reality?
Yeah.
Real quick. Just in terms of the future of the X-Men films is what I mean.
Yeah, just really quick.
May I?
Sure.
Okay, so folks, bit of unfortunate news. Our fearless director, he's been kind of facing some trouble lately. Not Sentinels, but equally devastating trouble. He's been accused of doing some sexually negative acts to some underage actors. So,
oh God.
Look, I'm just gonna. This is my only statement on the matter. I'm hoping that it's just. I think we all are just hoping that it's just someone trying to get money.
Of course, and it is very suspicious that it's coming out like, freaking 15 years after the fact.
Yeah, I
Right
mean they're
as
saying
the
like it happened
movie's
during like
opening.
the premiere of Superman Returns or something.
Was it? Okay, so
I'm
not
saying it's
15
years.
years, so. Yeah, but it's still almost a decade afterwards.
I'm saying like this stuff happens in Hollywood all the time. Even happened to Charlie Chaplin of all people. I mean, like people are making accusations about everyone all the time. I'm
Sure.
hoping it's a false one.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I mean that's kind
Yeah,
of part of the Hollywood game is it's like
but
politics, you know what I mean? It's like false accusations are flying around everywhere.
even but I'm not going to say what going further deal about the accusation. But if the worst were to happen, would we view the films any different?
I mean, I don't think we'd have a choice but to, because it would just kind of, I mean, they'd be the same movie. I don't know.
But let me say this: for the future of the films, you think, obviously, if press were that bad on the guy,
Yeah, obviously he would be out if it was proven.
But what if just the accusations were really damaging? You think that's still going to get him out of this thing, or? I mean, he signed on to direct the next movie.
Right.
But we know now with Edgar Wright things aren't concrete as we thought they once were.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Ugh. Sad.
So,
you just depressed me. Every time I'm reminded, I'm just like,
But Tiki.
What?
Look at the bright side.
What?
You have to hope again, Tiki.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a great scene. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, you're right. We did gloss over
Xavier talking to his future self, by proxy Wolverine getting inspired and fixing Cerebro.
Don't really have time to get into it, but yeah.
Good scene, emotional dwarf fits into the points we've made before. That's it. Ending on a hopeful note. Yay!
Woohoo!
Now listen, I'm doing a '90s X-Men theme. Okay.
Okay.
I
I wouldn't know that theme, so.
All right. Sorry. You want to do the movie theme?
Da 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 da.
Da da da
Da da da da da da. Alright guys, thanks for watching to this. If you stuck through the nearly 3-hour runtime, it deserves a 3-hour discussion because this movie is all kinds of deep. There's all kinds of context going on, 2 different timelines, so if any movie deserved me and BlueDragonFive just rambling on and on like incoherent frickin' fanboys that we are, then I think it's this one. So
how can we ever get tired of Xavier and Charles playing chess? It's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh God! Oh my God! That's another freaking.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that when I mentioned like the emotional moments. I forgot to actually mention
the freaking plane scene where Magneto almost brings the plane. Oh my God! We went on for like freaking almost 3 hours on this thing.
Okay, real quick footnotes. Okay, footnotes were that he was trying to bring the plane as some good interactions with Wolverine, who he kind of develops a bond with before he throws him in the sea.
No, but I love that whole interaction, like, you abandon us, Charles! Oh, God. It's like a great scene, because, like, you can totally see where both of the characters are coming from. Oh, God. And
yeah,
again,
but more so...
What?
More so, I mentioned this before, I love the line, I just love the bit, it's such a quiet scene of Charles, like, Magneto, after they've kind of had their little spat in the air, he brings the chessboard with little metal rings around the pieces.
Yeah.
And then they playing chess like they used to. He's trying to bomb the French. So man, he's making an effort here. And then he makes his great line. He says, "You'd give up your gifts to walk?" He says, I did this so I could sleep, Eric. Well, a great moment. I love that. And then he moves the chess piece. It's like and I love how he's the one making the first move too. That's symbolic of like Magneto at the end of the day. He's going to make the first move against everybody.
Yeah. Oh, big time. But I mean, just to wrap it up, I mean, I think it just kind of speaks volumes to this movie that we've been sitting here yapping about it for 3 hours, and we didn't even touch on some of that stuff. So it's like, this movie is huge. It's just full of great stuff. So go see it. I'm not the biggest X-Men fan in the world. I was walking into it with pretty much no expectations. I came out blown away. So even if you're not really big on the X-Men, I recommend this just based purely on it's just a great sci-fi time travel. I mean, I'm really into time travel to begin with. It's just, oh my God, it's just so good all around. So, all right, you got anything else to say, or should we just go ahead and wrap it up?
Remember, kids, the future is what you make of it.
Damn straight. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.
See ya, Bob.